Hello, fellow homebrewers. JP here, and I want to introduce to you the brand new Brew Built X1 Conical Series available at More Beer. More Beer sells the highest standard in homebrewing equipment, and the Brew Built Conicals are just that. They're made from mirror-polished 304 stainless steel, and they come with loads of features that you and I have been looking for. They have a full 2-inch bottom dump valve, which will eliminate your clogging issues, while the sturdy base includes 4 reinforced legs, just like those big Pro tanks do. More Beer also carries the Brew Built line of options and add-ons like casters, pressure kits, and even external glycol chillers. So you can find out more about the new Brew Built X1 Conical Unitanks by going over to morebeer.com for detailed videos on the entire line of Brew Built Conicals. You can trust Brew Built with your next fermentation, and you can trust More Beer to find the right conical for you. Brew Built at morebeer.com.
Feels like work. Shooting the shit for 2 hours, drinking beer and talking beer. What a wonderful experience.
Can we not have the barf bucket near my mixing board?
I think everybody could read the book.
I knew you were going to use this book as an excuse to quit doing this show.
Mrs. Bub, if you want, I can mail you the Bub Timer.
Yeah, Newcastle. Especially in the can. Have you ever had it in the can?
No, I have not had it in the can.
Notice I closed my eyes and I concentrated really hard.
Now, live from the Brewing Network studios in Northern California, this is the radio program for home brewers, craft brewers, beer lovers, and beer geeks. It's your only source for live beer radio that brings expert brewers together with, well, expert drinkers. This is the radio program with a head on it. This is The Session.
Well, all right, everybody. Welcome to The Session. I'm your host today, Justin Crosley. Joining me in the studio is Jason J.P. Petros.
Hi, Justin. Thanks for having me.
I'm glad you're here. And Bevo is in her box.
Hi.
In her little box over there, too, as well. Teresa is running late today, I've heard. Traffic or something, I don't know. Bay Area gets you.
Bay Area gets you, baby.
Every time. It's going to get you. We got a great show planned for you today. Ocean View Brew Works out of Albany, California is in the studio with us. Very enthusiastic bunch.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Are they amped?
And I think they are. They seem pumped out there. And they brought us some beer, of course. So we'll be sipping on that. Little samples.
Speaking of sipping, how's everything going? Let's get an update.
On my...
Dry Justin 2.0.
Dry Justin. Still dry.
Okay.
Yep.
How many days?
This is 2 weeks now, I think.
Wow.
2 weeks, 7 hours, and 8 minutes.
Yeah, but who's counting? I mean, it's not important at all.
Yeah. No, I'm a couple weeks in. Still on the wagon.
Now, have you wavered and had like a pint here and there, or except for the last show on Monday where you had some sips? That's it.
That's it. Which I kind of was thinking about even the last show. I didn't even finish my samples. I'm guessing I had maybe 3 ounces of beer on the show.
Which we should clarify, because usually you say that's the marker that the beer isn't good. If you don't finish. So while you're doing the Dry Justin...
It does. All bets are off.
That's right, because that beer is very good.
Yeah, the beer was great last week, so nobody should... And in fact...
I sort of realized that. I was like, oh, no.
Yeah, and I was glad, that we talked about it with the guests, too, so that they didn't also think... Because who doesn't finish a 4-ounce sample? How bad is your beer if the host doesn't finish a 4-ounce sample? Yeah. But I did it. I'm just... I don't know. It's a thing right now. I'm on the wagon. So
do you feel any different?
I don't know. People keep asking me that. I'm bored more. I think I said that last week. I'm bored. Yeah. I don't know. There's a few differences, but overall, not. I don't know.
You want to talk about them or not? I'm just very curious.
Let's see. I fall asleep better. I might be sleeping better in general.
Okay.
Which is weird because, a lot of times they'll say, oh, when you quit drinking, if you're a heavy drinker, right, you might experience insomnia. But I'm the opposite. I always had insomnia, and now I'm kind of falling asleep all right.
Yeah.
Because they kind of say, like, oh, well, when you're drinking a lot, you'll pass out, right? Like, it's easier to fall asleep, but then you don't sleep all that well.
Right, yeah, you get terrible sleep.
Yeah, and for me, I had more insomnia, I think, when I was drinking. I had a tougher time falling asleep. I probably didn't sleep all that well, but I had a tougher time falling asleep. Right now, I'm kind of conking out.
Okay.
And probably sleeping a good solid 8 hours.
Yeah, because you do have a tendency to sleep deep into the day. Are you up at a normal humanistic type of day?
Sometimes. I do. I guess I wake up pretty promptly around 8:30 every day, but a lot of times I'll just fall back to sleep, too. Okay. It depends on what time I do go to bed.
Yeah.
But I could easily, before, I could, get into bed at midnight or 1 and not fall asleep till 3 or 4, fairly easily.
Woof.
And now I'm kind of falling asleep when I get into bed, so that, that's different. My skin's doing weird shit. In some ways, my skin's clearing up, and in other ways, my face has this, it's constantly, red and irritated right now. And I don't know what that is. I don't think that has anything to do with it, but I don't know why that's happening. It might be I'm cold all the time.
Yeah.
Which I'm having these weird things, so I end up, looking up. I'm like, what are the withdrawal symptoms?
Yeah.
I don't have any of the withdrawal symptoms.
No, it sounds like you're going through menopause.
Yeah, right?
Or you're pregnant.
Well, and so because I'm cold all the time, I'm cranking up the heat at my place to 71.
Ew, dude.
And I'm wearing a hoodie.
Wow.
And I'm wondering then if I'm just drying my skin out. That's what's going on with my face because I'm blasting the dry heat and then right. So I'm trying not to associate things that there's no association.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking
maybe a little humidifier you need or something.
But in terms of everyone's like, oh, you feel great. I don't know. I don't feel all that different.
You don't feel different?
Not really.
That's interesting because, talking to the few people that I do know that either do this or have stopped drinking, they feel cognitively a little bit better. They can think clearer. They're a little sharper. They're a little more energetic.
Yeah.
A little more happier. You don't feel anything. You're just the same miserable piece of shit.
Kind of, yeah.
I love that, to be honest with you, because at least you know that it's not you're not a different person when you're drinking when you're not drinking.
Yeah,
You know
I'm sort of happy to find that out, and I was happy to find out that I didn't really have any of the withdrawal symptoms too. Because look, I am a heavy drinker. I've always been a heavy drinker. So you wonder, you're like, well, shit, what does that mean? Am I also then addicted to alcohol so that my body sort of craves it?
Yeah.
None of that has happened.
Damn. I love that for you.
So, yeah, me too, because, God, who wants to quit drinking for good? What a waste of life that is.
Yeah.
Sorry if you've had to do that out there. But
if you're listening and you
if you love this show but you can't drink. So, but I haven't. I do, in some ways, I'm enjoying being completely sober. So because of that, I don't really have a cutoff. I don't know when I'm going to start drinking again. Probably when I decide, I actually really want a beer right now. But, I am... I guess I'm not noticing, some major cognitive differences, but at the same time, I'm enjoying being completely sober all the time for some weird reason.
Yeah, I guess that's my question is what do you enjoy about it? But it sounds like you haven't really pinned it down yet.
I think I do. I think maybe I'm slightly more productive. I do find myself, I always work late into the evening anyway. Mm-hmm. I kind of hit my stride after 8 o'clock that, I'll work till, midnight or 1. I think I find I'm more productive during those hours. So my work hours are the same, but I do feel like maybe I'm getting more done during that time. And I guess I'm just enjoying. It's a different feel. It's just different.
Yeah.
Being sober all the time.
Right.
So even though I keep saying I'm super bored, in some ways it's interesting to feel different.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't really know when I'm going to start again.
So would you call yourself trans alcohol? When you're transitioning from alcohol to non, is that a term we could use?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think it would take like some epic self-discovery during this time for me to be like, oh, you love not drinking. I do. I miss beer a little bit because it just tastes so good.
Right.
So I do kind of miss. Like I've had like a 6-pack of one of my favorite beers. I have Drake's 1500. It's been sitting in my fridge the whole time. And every now and then I'll look at it and I go, it's so tasty, but I don't want one.
Right. I feel like with the amount of self-discovery journeys you've been on, there's not a whole lot left to discover about yourself. Like you pretty much, you should, you're there.
I pretty much
You've read
know
the encyclopedia, A to Z.
I know all the ways I'm a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
So
and the way that you're not.
Yeah. So I don't think I'm off it, like forever or whatever. I will, what I'm curious about? I'm more curious about how much I go back to it. In other words, the amount, the number of days in a week and the amount that I drink. I feel like that might alter.
Yes.
Now that I have experienced the other side a little bit, that maybe I'll be like, oh, it's fine not to catch a buzz today. You know what would
have been interesting is for all of us to do this together.
Oh, that's a good call. Yeah. I tend to not plan these things though, so that,
I could just say that I'm doing it with you.
Right. Like it was the same as when I quit. I just wake up one day and just start these things. I don't know why. But I guess you're right. I mean, we could do that at another time, or you can start now if you want. You've got a beer in your glass already.
Let me start now.
Yes, you. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. I'm also curious, like the day I'm like, oh, I want to drink now. I wonder if I'll just like go on a bender or if I'll just have a beer.
I hope that you start drinking bourbon.
No. I don't need another.
Where you're like, I really want alcohol, but I want to get drunk with beer. I don't know. And then someone just throws you a Four Roses or something.
Oh, and then I'll get hammered, too.
Then you're like a bourbon head. You're a spirits guy.
I would hate that.
You get white girl drunk.
Which happens to me. I hope I don't do that. That doesn't, no, I don't want that.
It kind of seems like you're just unknowingly mentally preparing yourself for spending time in a vehicle.
Right. Yeah, I do have a lot of driving coming up. But even then, I've done the RV trips. I would just, like drive all day. But then, like, the minute I get to camp, crack open those beers,
Yeah. Walking out of the RV, drinking a beer.
Oh, literally, yeah. It's like, I got to set up, grab a beer, walk out and set up, know. I don't know. Maybe I'll go right back to my heavy drinking habits. I have no idea. All I know so far is that I'm fine and I'm cool not doing it for a while. Yeah. And I don't really know when I'm going to pick it up or what that looks like either.
I feel that way about a lot of stuff. But I think what you're going to find is I would bet that you're not going to be drinking as heavily as often. Mm-hmm. You'll still do it every now and then, but because you want to, but now that you do it a lot of the times out of boredom.
Yeah.
So I think you'll be able to sort of have that self-check and be like, I don't really need this. So
yeah, I think that might happen.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'll mix in water more often. I am enjoying being super, like, uber hydrated.
Yeah.
But like I said, I basically only drink either beer or water. There's no, like, soda in there. There's no, like, juice in there. It's just, but now it's just water. And I do like being super hydrated. That feels good. So I think, you might be right. If I cut down, I'll be like, 2 beers, 2 glasses of water. Because I do have this thing, like once I get liquid in a glass, I just keep drinking it. Yeah. So I do think now I know that I'm like, just put a different liquid in there. It doesn't have to be beer for all 6 glasses you're going to have this hour.
Yeah. Right. Regan, who used to work at More Beer, he would always say 1 glass of beer for every 1 glass of water for every 2 glasses of beer.
Right.
2 to 1 little ratio, and then you can kind of just go.
It's pretty fair.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah. We'll see. I don't really know.
All right, well, we look forward to hearing about it.
I do think it's good for my organs. Like, whether I feel it or not, I know for sure that, like, my liver is enjoying the break.
Yeah, for you, for your liver, this is like Christmas Day in World War I.
Yeah.
Where all the fighting just stopped.
Right.
And everyone played soccer for about 6 minutes and then killed each other. So we're waiting for that other side to come through.
And that little bastard, those little bastards, like, can completely, like, regenerate themselves.
Yeah.
Like, as long as you haven't done enough damage that you're all, like, like literally build, like, scar tissue. Like, barring that entire organ can regenerate itself. So I think that'll probably be good for me.
Absolutely.
You know, it's been going since I'm like 15 years old. So I figure it's enjoying.
Yeah.
And I think that, that could use a good 3 weeks, a month, whatever.
Or it's crying and talking to your kidneys about why he doesn't love you anymore. You know what? Your organs are sort of like Toy Story.
Right.
Where now, your bladder's getting more of a workout from all the water. And so your other organs, like, why doesn't Justin play with us?
Yeah, it doesn't love me anymore. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Well, good.
Well, today's program is brought to you by the good folks over at More Beer. Go to morebeer.com and check them out. And while you're there, you can check out their Extra Pale malt. It's a modern two-row base malt designed for very light-colored beers. And it's a unique malt that's kilned like a Pilsner to have a very light color, but it's got all the flavor of a pale malt. So go check it out. Go to morebeer.com and look at their Extra Pale. On today's program, like I said, we've got Ocean View Brew Works. They're going to be in the studio with us, and I'm looking forward to that. All right. Let's do just a couple of announcements. Announcements are brought to you today by the 21st Amendment. You can go to 21st-amendment.com and learn all about them. And you might still find their tasty IPA on the shelves. And, of course, that started as a collaboration with everybody's favorite brewcaster, Mike Tasty McDole. And now it's in their regular seasonal lineup at 6.8% ABV and 58 IBUs. It's got a light straw color. And, boy, does it have some hops in it. Calypso, Simcoe, Azaka, Amarillo, Citra, Simcoe Lupulin Pellet, Centennial, Cascade Equinox, Cascade Lupulin Powder, Mosaic, and I guess some more Azaka just for fun. Go check it out at 21st-amendment.com, and it's their tasty IPA. All right, tickets are now on sale for the Brewing Network's 11th annual Spring Brews Festival. That's happening Saturday, March 28th from noon to 4 right here in lovely Concord, California, right in the Todos Santos Park. You can go to thebrewingnetwork.com and click on our events right there, and you can buy your tickets. I'd get them now. The price does go up as time goes on, but for $40, you're going to get like 62 craft breweries. That's actually about 104 different beers, and it's all you can taste. So come on out and join us for our Spring Brews Festival. Tickets are on sale now. If you want to volunteer for that, we're always looking for volunteers. You can send an email to Bevo, that's B-E-E-V-O, Bevo, at thebrewingnetwork.com, and you get free admission. You only have to work for half of the festival, and you get to go enjoy it for the rest of the time. We're always looking for volunteers, so send your email to Bevo at thebrewingnetwork.com. If you want to support us, we thank you so much for doing that. You can do your Amazon shopping. Just click the Amazon link on our homepage, and then just shop as normal, and we really appreciate it. It really is it doesn't cost you anything to do that, and it helps us out a whole bunch. And you can also subscribe and join the BN Army. Just click the donate button, and for as little as $2 a month, you're entered into the More Beer monthly donation giveaway, which is a chance to win $100 to spend over at More Beer. And all of that support we really appreciate. many of you have been doing it for years. I will tell you this, of all of our listeners, it's less than, I think, 2% of you are subscribers, and if even 10% of people subscribe, it would change everybody's life here at the Brewing Network.
That's right.
And probably even the content we're allowed to bring you. So, just consider that if you like the content for as little as $2 a month. And we're going to be having a new way for you to support us here pretty soon, too. So stay tuned for that. All right. Yeah. Go over to Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and you can follow us there.
Sure. You can do all sorts of stuff over there.
Yeah. Send your feedback to feedback@thebrewingnetwork.com. You can send your show ideas there for guests or just feedback, and we like to hear all of it. Positive, negative, we don't care. Send it all in to feedback@thebrewingnetwork.com. All right. Do we have a Twitter game today?
We do, Justin. Thank you.
Twitter game is brought to you today by the Beersmith Brewing Software. Go to beersmith.com, get your free 21-day trial. And if you've been hearing me say this all these years and you've never done it, just go do it. Trust me, it's really great stuff. And even if you're like used to the way you do it, you're going to love it. Go to beersmith.com. Get your free trial today. What's our Twitter game?
Well, Justin, given the recent bout of hospitalizations at the Brewing Network,
right?
Spanning 5 years, maybe 6 years, but a few of us in the hospital every now and then.
Okay, yeah.
I think Bev might be the only one who hasn't wound up in the hospital.
Now you jinxed her, didn't you?
Well, good. She kind of deserves a jinx, to be honest.
That's rude.
Yeah.
We think it's time for us to sponsor a wing of our local hospital. That's where we are financially. So I know. Right. I apologize to bring this up now on the heels of the Give Us More Money speech, but we have hospital money.
Okay.
We have hospital wing money. So what I want to know is what sort of ailments should the new BN wing treat, and then what's it called? Because that's the contract we signed with a hospital. I'm not going to say which. There's a few in the area.
Sure.
We get to choose what we focus on.
I like it.
Thank you.
All right. What ailments will we solve? Hopefully all of mine.
I really thought about punning it up and A-L-E-M-E-N-T-S.
Oh, yeah.
Right. I am a dad now. So.
Yeah, you're ripe for the puns. All right. We have time to do some feedback. A lot of people writing in.
Long feedback.
Yep. People are excited about the North American tour, so we're getting a lot of feedback about that. Feedback's brought to you today, of course, by the Beer Law Center. Go to beerlawcenter.com, and John can take care of you like he takes care of our trademark or your brewery filings or anything you may need. Just send him an email. Go to beerlawcenter.com. You will not be disappointed. John's he's a good dude, and he's got a good team over there. All right, let's see. Kathy writes in from South Carolina. Hello to the entire crew of the session. I want to give a special shout-out to Teresa, since I was just listening to the Alaro session, where Justin commented on her never getting any recognition, and Teresa's not here.
Oh, Teresa.
She can't win that one.
Yeah, no, she can't.
All right, Kathy says, thank you for the great lineup of shows on the Brewing Network. I've been listening for a couple years and have enjoyed the broad range of topics and styles of the hosts. Recently joined the BN Army as a corporal.
Hey!
Yeah, thank you for that.
Very much.
She's giving back for the great entertainment and knowledge, she says.
That's right. We need that big money energy in 2020, boys.
Yeah. So Kathy says, I wanted to pitch our brewery to you as a potential stop on the Session Summer Tour. It's called Liability Brewing, and they're located in Greenville, South Carolina.
Sounds like it's owned by Sam.
Yeah. She says, we opened our doors in August of 2018 with the mantra of life needs a liability. What the hell does that mean, she says. And I agree. I had the same question. It means life is better with a little excitement, with adventure, with our dumbass friends who embarrass themselves and us on every outing. Sometimes a bad idea is better than a good one. Doesn't that sound a lot like Justin's philosophy on life? Except right now, during his I'm not drinking phase, what the fuck, she says. You're right. That is generally my philosophy on life. You're right. I don't know what is going on with me. Teresa, this email said hello to you. And then you weren't even...
Oh, she was listening live.
I was live streaming on my way.
Okay.
I've literally never done that.
Thank you. Thanks for the shout-out.
Yeah. Okay, what else does she say? And one last pitch for you to come visit us. My husband is on the South Carolina Brewers Guild board and is working to modernize the craft brewing laws in South Carolina, if that topic is of interest.
Cool virtue signaling. I mean, wow.
She even apologizes for the long post, she says. Kathy, I love this invite, and guess what? I'm totally driving through South Carolina, obviously, on my way to Asheville. I'll be coming up from Florida and then probably something in Georgia. So, Kathy, I will be reaching out to you because it sounds like a great brewery to go visit. And I needed a spot in South Carolina anyway.
And you are a liability.
And I'm definitely a liability. And I guess we should, Kathy, we should do the show and then go get in trouble somewhere.
That's right.
Me and your team. So keep that in mind. But keep me out of jail. Bevo doesn't like to have to bail me out of anywhere. Thank you for writing in, Kathy.
Of anywhere.
Of anywhere.
Yeah.
Bail me out of anywhere. Nick writes in. It spells N-I-C.
I don't like that.
I don't like it either.
Yeah, it's very mid-90s. I don't know why.
Is that his nick? Is it Nick's nickname, or is he
I feel
not
like he's a guy who has like a table set in San Francisco that sells off-market cologne.
It kind of makes sense, though, if the full name is Nicholas. There's no K in Nicholas, is there?
Well, no.
So NIC is actually more accurate than NICK.
Why is Dick short for Richard?
So what's your stance on NIK? I have a friend.
I don't like that either.
NIK.
That's actually worse.
Well, what
Really?
do you, Oh, NIK.
Instead of NIC.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is worse. NIK is worse. I'm coming over to NIC side. I feel like it's closer to Nicholas. You know?
Well,
you don't put an A. It could be niche. You know?
So NIC was bad, but then you hear NIK, and now suddenly NIC is not so bad.
Right.
Yeah.
It's all contextual.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Well, Nick from Old Bull Brewing, right?
I'm sure they're both nice people.
Yes.
Not getting hate mail from JP.
Nick says, I'm a longtime listener and saw that you're taking the show on the road this spring. If your travels take you through Montana on the I-90, you're welcome to stop at my brewery, Old Bull Brewing, which is right off of I-90, in the small town of Frenchtown.
How's bull spelled?
B-U-L. No, B-U-L-L.
4 L's.
Yeah, B-U-L-L. 50 miles west of Missoula, opened in 2019. They have a 3-barrel Blickman system.
Wow.
And they use the Beersmith brewing software.
Jiminy Christmas.
I like it, yeah. Nick says, I've been on Dr. Homebrew. Placed first at HomebrewCon in 2018 with a dark mild. And anyway, learned a lot over the years listening to your shows and would love the chance to buy you some beers.
Oh, man.
Cheers and safe travels from Nick. So, Nick, I do think I love me some Montana. If I make it, though, it's going to be at the tail end of the tour. So it would be September.
Wow, you're like an EKG. You're going to go up and down and up and down.
Well, kind of. I'm actually trying to do... It's not that bad. It sounds like it, but it's not quite that bad. And that's why Montana is sort of at the end. And it would be out of my route home. I would then be traveling north. But that's okay, because I love Montana.
Okay.
So, Nick, thank you for the invite. And if once I sort of hammer out those plans, I will let you know. Appreciate that. Mark writes in, he suggests that I stop in Memphis, Tennessee on the tour and possibly do a show from Crosstown Brewing Company. He says, since HomebrewCon is in Nashville, perhaps you can coordinate a stop. It's a 3-hour drive to Memphis. He does want me to go, he says, or go during Memphis in May. Which is a title, Memphis in May, which is a large festival during the month of May that includes a music festival down on the river one weekend, and then, JP, the World Championship Barbecue Cooking Contest on another weekend.
Let's go!
He says, locally we call the barbecue contest Barbecue Fest, and it's a huge party.
I love both of those things.
Yeah, it sounds awesome.
I love one of those things.
I think May, though. I don't know that I can do it. Right now, I'm supposed to be in Florida in May. And this is where it starts to get zigzaggy if I change my plans.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to be leaving San Antonio at the end of April.
Right.
And I would have to shoot up to Tennessee and then down to Florida. And I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to keep it as consistent as I can. But I do think we'll stop in Memphis on the way or the way out of HomebrewCon. So Memphis is definitely on my list. I will keep the brewery name in mind, and thank you for that update. He does say the brewery was built next to a large urban renovation of what used to be a giant Sears catalog center.
I mean, imagine how big a Sears is in general.
Yeah.
But
right,
a catalog center has to be a quintillion square feet.
And Sears is a weird thing. So I went to Sears today, ironically, for the first time in forever.
I thought it was closed.
They are. They're closing all over the country, but the one in Concord here at the mall is still there, and it's one of the few left that still sells Craftsman tools. I don't know if you remember that.
Okay.
But Sears has always been associated with the Craftsman brand. And I needed a toolbox for the RV because it's the fucking RV.
Right.
Anyway, I'm just saying, I haven't been to a Sears in so long, and then we get this weird email about a Sears. It's like, even walking through it, I felt like I was going back in time. It's a weird, it's a weird relic.
It is going back in time. It's like you're a little kid and you're holding your dad's hand.
Yeah.
Trying to go find what channel locks are.
Yeah, and then you need to go find shoes with the Velcro because you're too dumb to tie them.
Yes. Yeah. But check this out. I found the same toolbox on Amazon for the same price. But I thought about it. I don't know why. Maybe this is part of my sobriety.
Okay.
I'm sitting there last night thinking about it, and I'm like, you know what? There's a Sears here. And like all the Sears are going out of business. But this Sears is hanging on.
Yeah.
I should go buy it from the fucking Sears. It's like 10 minutes from my house.
Right.
So I did that. I'm like Amazon addicted.
Yeah.
Like I can quit drinking for a month. Amazon, forget it.
Oh, yeah.
But I felt the need to support fucking Sears for some reason.
Okay, yeah.
So I went
you got real loyal.
I don't know why.
Yeah,
I had this weird, like old school, like this nostalgic moment where I was like,
older,
what
friend.
if this Sears isn't there one day and it will bother me?
Then you're going to have to wait 48 hours for that toolbox.
Yeah.
And men like us can't do that.
No. So I patronized the goddamn Sears today.
Yeah, you did. You know what trips me out? Patronize, like when you shop, and then patronize when you patronize somebody. It's the same.
It's the same.
So it just sounds like you're like, oh, I guess I'll buy this here. I mean, guess you did.
So, okay, and I go to the Sears, and the tool area is like bare. Like they're
not stocking shit.
Like they're going out of business. And I'm like, wow, what's happening?
Yeah.
And I heard, while I was browsing the tools, I heard somebody ask, and they were like, oh, no, we're not going out of business. We're just rearranging things. I'm telling you, I've never seen
really
anything so
sad
scarce.
way.
But they had my toolbox.
There you go.
For the same. Actually, it was $5 cheaper than Amazon.
And,
Wow, well done.
Not including the wear and tear in the car, but you did good.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Okay, anyhow.
Not to put you off.
This brewery is next to this old Sears catalog center that was abandoned for decades, as we're saying. But the building is now an urban vertical village.
Yeah, so sounds terrible.
What does it even mean?
Well, it has retail, offices, apartments, and even a high school in it.
What?
Imagine living in an apartment and then not leaving the building to go to school.
Yeah,
that's
like
awesome.
Inside of
I think it's awesome, but it would be weird at the same time to be like 14. Like, I got to get out of this fucking building.
How is that zoned?
I know,
Right? Just the right
Very
people for space
carefully.
travel.
Yeah.
Like, they're used to spending a lot of time inside.
This makes me think of like the zombie apocalypse when everybody congregates together to, you live in a small quarter so the zombies can't get to you. Like they're just preparing for it.
I would have loved this in high school. I used to miss the bus all the time. I lived in the desert, so we were like 20 miles from school. Like that's just how things work. And I would miss the bus all the time because I'm a fucking slacker.
Right.
And then I would have to take what was called, we had dial-a-ride in the desert, which was like 50 cents to take it. But you got beat up if you took dial-a-ride because you were poor. Like I was poor, and
even though you were, the ironic part is you're paying money,
right? The
for
50
the poor
cents,
but
it was
free.
just how the kids just pick on something.
Right.
And dial-a-ride was so I used to get beat up all the time for taking fucking dial-a-ride. If my school was in the same place I lived,
you would never get beaten up,
right?
But
and I'd probably be a doctor or something.
Probably.
I'd be an astronaut.
What you need is unfettered access to drugs. That's
You'd
what
be
you
a
need.
recluse.
Agreed.
Yeah,
I would be more of one. Anyhow, I think this place sounds awesome, and I get to go visit Graceland if I go, which I'm into.
Yeah, I would definitely. Whenever you finalize everything, let me know.
Oh, you're gonna get the list. Don't worry.
I gotta figure some of this shit out.
You got to join me on some of the stuff for sure. All right. Well, thank you for the recommendation, Mark. I got to get. Wow, we have a lot more. People are excited about this trip, and so am I. So,
yeah, dude.
I'm really happy everyone's writing in. Let's see, Kevin. Oh, Kevin's from Block 3 Brewing.
That's right.
So he was on not too long ago.
He was here.
He had some suggestions for me in Southern Ontario. Of course, he says absolutely welcome to come to their brewery. He says they'll do a cool ship batch.
There you go.
Oh, nice.
And there's RV parking out back. Okay, I'm in, Kevin. And then he mentioned some other ones that we can go to. There's one in Counterpart Brewing in Niagara Falls. I'll be entering Canada through Niagara Falls, so maybe I should do that.
Oh, nice.
All right, great suggestions. Thank you. He also says, I heard that somebody said the Block 3 show is the best show ever on feedback, and he says you're welcome for that. Thanks, Kevin.
I don't recall ever hearing that, but I don't doubt it.
All right, here's one for you, JP, kind of for you.
Yeah.
And it's, let me just preface it by saying it's from an Aussie.
You're right.
Now, Aussies can be hard to understand sometimes. I don't know if you've noticed that.
Aussies, I feel like they just sort of have... You ever watch a TV show where suddenly someone loses a filter and they just kind of go blah?
Yeah.
That's Aussies. Where they just go blah, and then whatever, it's like abrasive. It's like hearing sandpaper.
Yeah.
Did you mean to say that?
It's just like very matter of fact as well.
Yeah,
which I like.
Right, and not in like a bad way. It is. And you're like, oh, you mean we don't have to do a thing? Like you can just tell me the thing, and I can tell you the thing, and then that's it.
Right.
Yeah.
Just like a different perspective, different, an Aussie point of view.
Yeah,
I would say.
I think it's all the blood rushing to their head because they're upside down all the time.
Down.
Yeah, it's.
By the way, what's going on in that country right now with the fires, my hearts are with you, especially here in the Bay Area. You know, we can relate to these things, and every one of our Aussie listeners, I am so sorry that you're dealing with this, and I hope you're safe. And, I've been to Canberra, the capital. We went to their homebrew conference once, and that place is, under siege right now. It's all around that place, the capital of the country, for heaven's sake. So, I don't know, I'm really pulling for you, and take care of yourselves, and I don't know. Wear a gas mask. I don't know what to tell you. I remember when we weren't even all that close to the fires where we live here, and the air quality was still awful. Really hard to breathe, and made me want to smoke cigarettes again. It was so bad. Like, why not? Anyway, I'm pulling for you all. And let's see, who is this? It's writing in from Oz. Jim. Bit long. Been listening to your show. I'm just going to read it as he says. I'm not going to paraphrase.
There you go.
Been listening to your show for a while now and genuinely love it, so I thought I would share this post I made to our local Perth Beer Snobs Facebook page here in Western Australia.
Which sounds like a terrible thing to do.
Yeah. At best, I think JP will enjoy it. He says, for reference, and he's now just alluding to things that are going to be in the post that I will read word for word. For reference, Rock Juice is made by an amazing local brewery called Rocky Ridge.
It's kind of a fun name, honestly.
Dan's is a bottle shop, Dan Murphy's, and Biggie Juice is a hazy beer produced by Farrell Brewery, and it's one of the first local hazies available on a commercial scale. I went to Farrell Brewery when I was in Australia. Great beer. Really liked that place.
If they don't have a beer just called Will, they're missing out on a lot of marketing opportunities.
They must, right? Yeah. I have a shirt from that place. I really liked their beer. All right, here is his post, I guess. Now, let me preface this by stating that although I do enjoy the odd hazy beer, looking forward to Rock Juice, I'm not a hazy boy. I do not spontaneously ejaculate when I find out that my local Dan's has just received yet another shipment of fucking Biggie Juice.
I wish it was that easy.
Nor do I create 4 different posts within 10 minutes when Imperial Biggie gets released. I am firmly of the belief that hazy beers are well overrepresented and that good examples are few and far between.
Yeah.
Having said that, some people do like them, and if they want to purchase and enjoy them, then they are free to enjoy this style as much as I like to enjoy my IPAs and sour beers. Good on you guys for supporting local craft beers. However, upon returning from my last swing away... I don't know what that is. It's like a
vacation?
Oh, okay. Upon returning from my last swing away, all I wanted was to drink some big IPAs. The type that are so dank and resinous, they'd make Snoop pay attention. And so, I went to my local purveyor of fine fermented beverages and selected 3 cans labeled IPA. I arrived home, and looking forward to passing out on the couch, snoring with the sweet taste of bitter, sticky, icky in my mouth after 2 weeks away and 30 hours awake because of the night shift. I eagerly cracked a can. It was a fucking hazy beer. Oh. As was the second. Cunts. Just reading it word for word.
Yeah.
The Aussies and the Brits are allowed to say that, so if I'm quoting, it's fine. You want me to say it again just so you know he said it? Cunts!
Right.
Of the 3 cans I purchased labeled IPA, only one of them was an IPA. Now, I'm not going to go into my views about the letters IPA appearing in the acronym NEIPA. Hint, they aren't fucking IPAs, he says. But what really ground my gears was the fact that breweries are labeling these beers as a something they are not and thoroughly pissing off customers.
Exactly.
Please, effing stop do it. You have your market share. Let people buy it. But why mislabel it for those that couldn't really care less about the style? End quote.
End quote.
He says, keep up the good work and look forward to your next installment. Regards, Jim. So there you go, JP. Another angry
I did enjoy it.
Person.
I enjoyed it very much. Thank you, Jim. Keep fighting the good fight, baby. There's a place for everybody. Just make sure it's well-defined and well away from me.
And I mean, I totally agree. I think that you need to label the haze when the haze is present.
That's all you got to do. That's all we're asking for.
Yeah. I mean, I go to a bar and I always like interview somebody about the clarity and the quality and what is the IPA taste like, to the point they usually just give me a sample.
Yeah.
You know, but like you got to know.
You got to know.
I don't disagree with this.
The more you know.
Yeah. All right, Josh writes in. I'm just going to skim through. It's another. He's from Asheville, I guess, and wanted to give me a couple recommendations. He said Zillicoa, and he wrote this as Burning Blush Brewery, but it must be Burning Bush, right?
I hope it's Burning Blush, and it's like like a fashion mogul started it or some shit like that.
Burning Blush,
yeah, by Mac.
It's all rosé beers,
and red ales.
Yeah. He says, yeah, they're making good beers anyway. So thank you, Josh. And Nate in Copenhagen writes in, I wanted to say that I won a local competition in Copenhagen, and part of the prize is my beer being contracted for commercial sale at a bar called Tap House. And Jamil, he says, did a Heretic event there once. To JP's delight, it was an IPA.
I mean, well, what?
Though quite clear.
Okay, thank you.
And pretty juicy for a West Coaster. I called it IPA Hell, both because it's light, like a lager hell in Germany, and as commentary on IPA only really meaning hoppy these days. He says he took inspiration from Vinny and Julian Schrago in their technique. So thanks for the good info. Good job, Nate. Well done. Noah wants us, you remember last week someone had mentioned that we do a collaboration soap with Duke Cannon?
Yes.
And you discovered that they're in Minnesota?
I believe it was Noah. I believe it was this guy.
Okay. Yeah. So Noah says, if you do end up doing something and you're serious about inviting me, I'm open to following along. I'm close to the Twin Cities.
Nice.
I did have our agent reach out to Duke Cannon. And we'll see what they say.
Okay, all right.
He said he'll pitch the idea and see what they come back with. I hope they invite us. It sounds like fun.
Yeah, even if we don't do a soap, I hope they got to fly us out. I mean, first of all, on the Duke Cannon private jet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Here's a very long one that I don't have time to do anymore. We're running late. But Kenny from Lost Tavern Brewing is inviting us as well. He is in Hellertown, Pennsylvania, about an hour north of Philly in the Lehigh Valley. I will be driving through Pennsylvania on my way to Ontario from Tennessee. So, thank you. What's his brewery called? Lost Tavern Brewing. Thank you for the invite, and I will see what I can do to get there, too. I'll send you an email as well, Kenny. But he loves the show, and, he says, I don't know, he says all kinds of things. I think he says I can get drunk and, sleep there, too. So that's good.
You have an RV. You'll be all right.
He did want me to say, P.S. Bevo, you can tally this email in the positivity column as you sift through every feedback email ever received. He's doing his best.
I love that you do that.
Yeah.
I don't do that. That's one of the jobs that JP does.
I'll put this one in the positivity column because he likes us.
No.
Sorry I couldn't read the whole thing, Kenny, but I am running late and we have to get to our guests, who is Ocean View Brew Works out of Albany.
I love it.
Yeah. So we're going to taste their beer and talk to them. We're going to take ourselves a quick break. And when we come back, we'll talk to Ocean View Brew Works. Hang in there. You're listening to The Session.
Hi, this is Wayne Wumbles from Cigar City Brewing, and you're listening to The Session on the Brewing Network.
Welcome back to the program. Thanks for hanging out with us, especially through that long first feedback segment. But we do appreciate that. If you want to send us notes, it's feedback@thebrewingnetwork.com. And happy that you guys are all excited about our tour. In the studio with me now, as promised, Ocean View Brew Works out of Albany, California. We've got a whole crew from the brewery in here today, which is exciting to see you all. Let me just go down the list of the three we have on the show, on the microphones with us right now. We've got Ben Mosher, who is a head brewer and a founder, right? Welcome, Ben.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. And then Scott Davidson, founder and brewer as well. Welcome, Scott.
Thanks for having us.
And Vonnie Davidson, I'm going to assume your wife, and one of the founders, as well as what, Vonnie?
I do all of our event planning and, just all the things that need to be done around the brewery.
So all the important stuff, really, because without people, what good is good beer?
I sell the beer so that everyone gets to drink it. They make good beer, and I get it to everyone else.
That's a good job.
It is a good job. It's a lot of fun. I also teach first grade right now, but
when
I'm not doing that,
right,
I do this.
All right, question. What's the difference between teaching first grade and working in a brewery?
So I went through this in my head this morning and said all day I deal with 3 to 7-year-olds because we have a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
And then I transitioned to dealing with people drinking beer. So it's pretty much the same thing all day long.
Yeah. You're well equipped for both jobs.
I know how to do all the aspects of all of this.
The number of naps during the day are limited.
Right.
On the breweries.
I'm really good at watching for consumption, though. So we watch, sugar levels and hydration. Make sure you've taken your potty breaks.
I love this.
We know how to do all that, yeah.
How long has Ocean View Brew Works been open? When did you guys start?
So we started February 17th, 2 years ago here. So we're coming up on our 2-year anniversary.
Okay.
And
congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Why Albany?
Albany. Well, we live there. And we love it. It's a really awesome community. And also, we had an opportunity. Vonnie's father-in-law bought an amazing property.
No, my dad. His father-in-law.
Got it. You're Vonnie's dad.
Vonnie's dad.
Yeah.
Bought an amazing property right on San Pablo and gave us the chance to get in there and start building a brewery.
Okay.
Which we took and ran with it.
So for those of our listeners who are not familiar with the Bay Area, there's kind of a dense cluster in what we call the East Bay, and especially on your side where you kind of have like Oakland, Emeryville, Albany, San Pablo. Is that a city or that's just a road? I forget.
San Pablo's
well, it's unincorporated.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Unincorporated.
Then you get into like El Cerrito, El Sobrano. You don't need to remember all this, but what I want to point out is it's kind of this like densely populated place, and Albany, which is a very old city in the Bay Area, is like seeing a little like revitalization right now. Like it's a great little pocket in the East Bay, right?
Absolutely.
Getting like restaurants and breweries, obviously, and like you can kind of still sort of afford to live. If you're from the Bay, if you're from the Bay Area, it's sort of affordable. If you're from anywhere else in the country, you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, what
if you like to live in 800 square feet,
sure,
the houses are tiny.
But like young people are moving in because like young professionals because it's like.
And if you're wondering where Albany and the brewery is at, it's between the Hotsy Totsy and Solano.
Okay.
Yes, the famous Hotsy Totsy.
Bevo knows the Hotsy Totsy. She is an El Sobrante native, I think, and now lives in Crockett. So
I live in the best places.
Yeah. She also used to work at like the Hot Dog Palace or something out there.
Sam's Doghouse.
Sam's Doghouse.
Yeah. Sam's Doghouse.
Yeah, I think she still has her like hot dog email or something. Was it like Wiener Girl?
Okay, that's rude and hurtful. No.
Wiener Princess.
It was Hot Dog Queen.
Hot Dog Queen.
Hot Dog Queen is different.
So much better.
Is it?
Hot Dog Queen 69420 lol at gmail.com.
Well, my point is, Albany's this cool little spot. Are you the only brewery in the city limits?
So, yes, we are the only brewery in Albany. Right down the street from us is Elevation 66.
Okay, yeah.
And they're in El Cerrito. We have Albany Tap Room like 3 blocks away from us. They do a ton of great things in there with a lot of great craft beer. And then other than that, Wild Card was on Solano for a second with the tap room.
Okay.
they've recently closed. And then Ale Tales, Sam Abend has that place over there, and they're a really cool bottle shop. Yeah,
great little beer spot then. Okay, what did you do before you started the brewery, Scott?
I did a lot of construction work, remodeling and various things in that field, and got very sick of it. So,
okay, yeah, I can see that happening.
Yes.
And were you a home brewer though?
Yes, I've been home brewing since I was 17.
Okay.
Actually, the first batch of beer that I ever brewed, I showed up in front of the Oak Barrel Winecraft on San Pablo.
Yeah. In Berkeley?
In Berkeley,
yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And started talking to Homer.
We love
Bernie.
Homer.
Homer's great.
He's our favorite.
Who doesn't love Homer?
I know,
right?
yeah.
So they hooked me up with a home brew kit and ended up going over to my now wife's house. And
Wait, what age is this? When you got the Humber kit?
17.
And when did you two meet? When is
a long time ago.
A long time
ago.
Before 17 even?
I think he was 17 and I was 18.
Okay.
Actually, we met in middle school and we played tennis together, but we didn't start dating until later.
Well, I would hope so. Jesus. So you waited till what, the 9th grade?
We were graduated from high school.
You didn't date until you graduated?
I dated
Be honest.
before him, but I didn't date him until I graduated.
Fair answer. Okay.
I was in college. It was an all-girls college called Mills, and it was great.
Also in Berkeley,
in
right?
Oakland.
In Oakland, yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Justin.
And
I dated a girl from Mills once.
No?
Yeah.
From the Berkeley one or the Oakland one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, she got rid of me fast. I'm a dummy. Mills girls are smart. You're a brainiac over there.
I know some things.
So, did you two know each other all through high school? Like, did you hang out? Were you friends, or not even that?
Not so much in high school. We knew of each other.
I see.
Started dating later.
We both rode crew, and that was the connection.
Okay.
So we actually went to different high schools during high school time, but there was the crew connection throughout.
Okay.
So that's a pretty small group of people who can handle that intensity.
Mm-hmm. This is sort of like, you would think this would be on the East Coast, right? You have all-girls school.
Yeah.
Right.
We both rode crew at Yale or some bullshit. You're right. Like, it sounds very fake for being on the West Coast because we don't normally hear stories like this.
Also, nobody's been here that long. We're all
Right.
transplants.
Yeah, that's
right.
You guys, you're unique to California.
Yeah.
Are you both born and raised California? You born here too?
Yeah. I'm born in L.A., but moved here when I was 10, so I'm pretty much raised here.
Okay.
And she's
good enough.
Full bred here.
Okay. So you're 17, you get your brew kit from Brewcraft, and what's the relation here? You brew at her parents' house?
Yeah,
at Bonnie's
so I
parents'
show
house?
up with a home brew kit from Homer, and what do? So we get the pot and take it to her parents' house.
Okay. Why not your parents' house? Just because? Were you hitting on her? Was this a thing?
I don't know. I don't know if I want to go to my parents' house at that point. So I don't know.
Fair enough.
Anyway,
I'll leave it alone.
It was a day. It was a whim.
Okay.
Right?
I was actually emancipated at 12. So
like, whoops. Okay.
I'm from the streets.
All right. So you go there, and your parents are cool with this, or they're not home, Vonnie?
They were there.
Okay.
They're there. They have no idea.
You're just making sauce?
What is your new boyfriend doing in our kitchen, basically?
You just want soup.
Yeah, it's weird smelling soup.
So the funny thing about that brew, we started up, we get the water boiling, and we were trying to do it outside, actually. So we were trying to do it on a hot plate at first.
Oh.
Remember that?
Yep.
You're in her parents' backyard with a hot plate trying to heat up like 5 gallons of water.
My dad's a firefighter, so maybe not his best idea.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
And about 3 hours into this, realized this is not going to fucking work. So
I like that it took you 3 hours to realize water wasn't boiling.
So we transported it to inside the house. And
wait a second. What were you guys doing for 3 hours waiting for this water to boil, you two?
Being young kids.
Yeah, you were. Okay, carry on.
Probably smoking a lot of weed and that kind of stuff. But anyway.
French kiss.
Yeah. All right, so you go
I think
out.
they called it necking.
Yeah. We're that old, too. Don't worry.
Make out ridge.
So what do? You move inside at this point?
Yeah, we go to the stove.
Okay.
Right? So get it up to a boil in 20 minutes and make the first batch of beer. And
this is your first beer ever?
First beer ever.
What was it?
What was that beer? That was a stout. It was like
Was it the Black Death?
It was Imperial Stout, basically.
Okay, of course it was.
Extract batch.
Was it the kit from Oak Barrel?
It probably finished out at like 10.25 or something like that. Super sweet and just disgusting. But anyway, we throw it in some 23-ounce bombers, and I give it to all my friends, and everyone's like, yeah.
Right.
We're all underage. It's beer. Let's drink it.
Of course. They didn't care what it tasted like. They weren't going to tell you it was awful.
Exactly.
They thought it was great. So that's your first beer.
Yes.
And the rest is kind of history. You continued homebrewing, I imagine, through college and everything else, yeah?
Yeah, ups and downs.
Where'd you go to school?
UC Santa Barbara. Started with DVC, actually. So
you did smoke a lot of weed.
Yeah. DVC, 2 years. Santa Barbara.
It's all right, man. I was on the 4-year plan at DVC, so you're good. So you go to UC Santa Barbara, and you continue homebrewing there?
Yeah, so I took a year off before college and worked at Alpine Meadows in Tahoe as their food and beverage manager. And at that point, I brewed probably 4 batches in the snow up there, which was really fun because you can just take the pot and stick it in the snow.
Yeah.
Stir it a little bit and cool it right down. Right?
No chiller required.
Exactly.
Okay.
So did that and then ended up figuring out that I need to go to college and brought all my equipment down there, had a lot of crazy, really bad batches with friends, extract batches and stuff like that. The funny thing about Santa Barbara was when we were down there, the only home brew shop was in Ventura.
Okay. Not too far south.
Not too far, but just dumpy and gross. And we went there a couple of times and really couldn't get the ingredients that we wanted.
Okay.
I actually called Homer while I was living down there a couple of times and she was still living up here, and she would visit me all the time, and I would have her bring ingredients from the Oak Barrel. Like, Homer, I need this. He's like, yeah, all right, no problem.
Vonnie's like, do you miss me? Yeah. Could you bring another, I need another kit from Homer.
Yes.
And Ben, you worked at Oak Barrel too, didn't you?
Yeah, you
didn't work there, Scott, for 8 years, really?
Yeah, Scott was actually the one that stole me away from Oak Barrel.
Okay, was Homer pissed about that, or
no?
Probably proud of you.
Does Homer get pissed?
No,
Homer. No.
Just disappointed.
Just disappointed. Yeah, he was just like, do what you got to do, man. But no, he. Homer just is on the next thing. He's been there so long.
He has. He's a staple in the and is it who's the owner? George? Is that his name?
Owner is Bernie.
Bernie, that's right. Forgive me, Bernie. Also a sweet man, nice guy down there.
Honestly, best experience of my life. Especially when it comes to work, I couldn't ask for a better boss. And when it came to learning about brewing, Homer would never really tell me exactly what to do. He would let me learn my own path. He was really good at telling me what I did wrong once I did it.
Right.
But still, I couldn't ask for a better teacher out there. Like Homer, just brewing and asking him these little questions once in a while was like the greatest experience, and I learned so much working at Oak Barrel.
I'm glad that you describe it that way because, like I said, he's one of our favorites, and we've had him on the show a couple times. And in some ways, I don't know why he's one of our favorites because he's a pain in the ass to interview. Because of what you're saying.
Quiet.
Because he's not going to tell you everything.
He's like, you should already know this.
Yeah, he's like, well, go figure it out, go try it. Yeah. And I'm like, no, I get that.
You can do that if you want to. Is his favorite phrase?
Yeah. So I'm pulling things out of him. But when you get him to talk, he's just so fun.
Even about his life, like talking about how he got into home brewing and drinking, whatever.
Because he was brewing before he was of age too.
Yeah.
He got that.
That was like 20 minutes. What did your mom say? Well,
she's like, I don't know.
She didn't really like it. What do you mean she didn't like it?
Listen what happened?
Did you get in trouble? A little. He's tough to because he's just reserved. Yeah. But when you bring it out of so I can imagine that he's great to work with. I'm just glad you described it.
Pain in the ass, but
happy to give you information, but it's not going to just spell it all out. For you.
He's not going to. He's going to actually if he thinks you can do it on your own, he's going to let you do it on your own. And then he's going to tell you what you did wrong afterwards.
So you get this great education there, and then at some point the two of you meet. I guess Ben and Scott.
Yeah, it wasn't.
I come back into the picture, after college and land back in the Bay Area with nothing to do.
What was your degree?
I studied many things.
You've never used it, have you? You've never used your degree. Me neither, by the way.
Communication.
I always ask this question, and it's very rare that anyone like uses the damn thing.
Yeah.
Vonnie, clearly, you had a degree in education, right?
Doesn't make me any money, but I use it.
But it's a job.
It's a trade-off.
Yeah. Okay, so you come back from college, though, and...
So, hanging out, trying to figure out what to do, and get into some construction stuff for a while, and realize I'm kind of going down that path. And at one point, Vonnie, you want to say this?
So we had our kids early. We had our first son, Julian, and Scott had been home brewing up a storm, and we were enjoying life. It was really fun and great. And I had a tutoring center. He was doing his construction, lots of fun. And Julian was born, and we actually came across the pictures last night of Scott's little brew house that he had in the garage space where the brewery is now.
Can I just point out that you preface the point where you had children with, so we were having lots of fun. It's like this whole before kid. I just didn't know if you caught that, but we're having all this fun. Everything was great, and then you have your first kid.
Our kids are fun.
Okay,
they are fun.
Wonderful.
So his brew house was awesome, and he decides we've got to be responsible. This is real life. Our son's here. He's arrived. I'm going to sell all my homebrew equipment.
You decided you had to do the straight and narrow.
Yes.
Okay.
And I looked at him and said, that is the dumbest thing I have ever heard.
I love you for this.
Ever.
It was a low point in my life. I was looking at my homebrew equipment saying, no, selling the homebrew equipment.
Got it, yeah. It was you were having a bad day.
Was it even a lower point realizing how wrong you were about it?
We did take our son camping for 2 weeks when he was 2 weeks old.
I love this.
And we toured the San Diego breweries, and that was a lot of fun. So we didn't let the fun stop. And I think about a year and a half later, we purchased the system from.
Well, wait, okay, hang on, slow down. So, you didn't sell the brewing equipment. Okay.
No,
that's not a possibility in our life.
So then, just on a serious note, if I can back up just for a second, like. You have your first child, and we can joke, you're like, oh, he's going to go on the straight and narrow. But, like, something happened inside of you where you thought, wow, like, I'm responsible for this life, and you felt like you had to make changes. I'm just curious about this because I haven't had it. But something had happened in you that made you think this.
So we have been going back and forth about opening a brewery for 15 years. Mm-hmm. And we ended up... at a certain point, you need to make some money and take control of your own life and
like less risks, maybe.
Well,
because now you're responsible for somebty else.
Yeah,
okay.
I know.
I'm not trying to be a downer. I just mean it.
It's not less risk. It's we took on a lot more risk.
Sure, okay.
Definitely. But at the end of the day, I had to do something.
Yeah,
and I had a skill here. Had a bunch of people to support me in doing this, and. Decided to make the leap. I had a bunch of skills in the construction area, so I could
build your brewery,
do all my own plumbing, do all sorts of stuff myself, save money to make it happen.
Yeah,
and we decided to go for it. So
within a year of you almost selling all your equipment, you purchased your first commercial equipment.
Yes. So, and that sat around for a little bit too.
What was the equipment?
Alan Atha, Bailtain Brewing, purchased all of his equipment from him.
Okay.
When he went down, and ended up converting this system to. It's unrecognizable at this point.
Okay.
So he had an electric system with a whole massive panel and everything. We scrapped that idea because we couldn't bring three-phase power across San Pablo to do it. I mean, it would have been like $200,000 to do it. So we were like, okay, well, that's not going to happen.
Of course.
So next step was to convert
we both
the
really
system.
love direct fire brewing in general.
In general, yeah.
So it wasn't a big
we were like,
loss
let's just
for
convert
you.
it. It was a very easy decision.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So now it came down to how are we going to convert this thing to direct fire? And at this point, Ben was along for the ride and put us in touch with Bob. What was his last name?
Eubanks.
Love that guy.
Yeah. Anyway, Bob ended up converting the system for us, put a nice firebox around it, put two 200,000 BTU burners under it.
Okay.
It's a 3.5 barrel kettle. And we scrapped the hot liquor tank, put in a 200,000 BTU burner. Hot water on demand system.
Okay.
So we mash and sparge off of that.
Wow. That sounds expensive. Hot water on demand.
Not bad.
Really?
It's not bad at all.
Okay.
185 degree water at 3 gallons a minute.
It's a Cogney unit.
That's really
costs
nice.
like $1,200.
Probably less than a tank.
Wow. I don't think I've heard a brewery come in here and say that. I'm sure there's been somebody, but...
Yeah, few and far between.
Yeah.
Well, the other person I know that's using
over
this,
the years.
and why I got the idea was Cleophas Quelli.
Oh, yeah.
They're running a 7-barrel system off of one of those.
Okay, yeah. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of, yeah.
I heard about a lot of bigger systems that were running 2 of them in line just to get the flow rate higher.
I see.
But but still, you pay that minimal price and you buy 2 of them. And
when you guys, what'd you say? You're a 3.5-barrel brew house?
So 3.5-barrel brew house.
Technically.
So 3 gallons a minute?
Technically.
It's a 3-barrel that we max.
Technically, we're a 3-barrel and we boil right at the rim.
We boil at the rim.
Just like we did back in the day.
Firm cap is your friend.
I was going to say that's exactly how I homebrewed too. It was right at the top because I wanted the most beer I could possibly get out of that thing.
Chad boiled right at the top.
Yeah.
So we double batch every brew into 7 barrels.
Okay.
Typically get like 6.5.
If you cut our boil kettle, technically we're a nano brewery.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
But no.
Is there a definition for nano? Is it like
under 4 under 3 or something like that?
I see.
It's under 4 or 5, something like that.
But does it go? I'm just curious. Does it go by your brew house or by your fermenters?
We don't know.
You have
We don't care.
7-barrel fermenters. Yeah, you don't give a shit.
Yeah.
You don't.
I just like to say that it's not important,
and it's not part of your like marketing. Bonnie. You don't say we're at the Albany's Nano Brewery.
We just say we're Albany's Brewery. There's only the one.
Yeah. Like it. Okay. All right.
Albany's only brewery? No. Albany's best brewery.
There we go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
In fine print and only.
Greatest.
It's like all the advertisements in Las Vegas. #1 comedy show on Wednesdays from 3 to 7. Like everything's like #1. You guys are the best in Albany. Okay, so you get your brew house going. It's your father-in-law's building. So do you pay him rent or is he a partner?
No, we pay him rent.
Okay. So he's not a partner at all.
He is a very loving person that's
supporter.
That's a big supporter of the brewery.
Love it. Okay. And he likes beer, obviously?
He drinks his fair share.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, cool. How many square feet is your building? Just curious.
Tiny.
Is that okay?
The part that we rent is probably about, the brewery itself is maybe 200 square feet.
Wow.
And the tap room is, what is that? Maybe 800 square feet. I think we're in about. We have a lot of outdoor space too. So
that's good.
All in all, maybe 1,200, maybe 15.
Okay. Teresa, next time you're walking through your crowded brewery, feeling like it's crowded, you shush.
I will.
Yeah, we're in a very small footprint.
And the next time I want to complain about not being able to move around.
Yeah,
it gets difficult when there's more than 2 brewers in the brewery.
Yeah,
like, too many brewers in the brewery. Get out.
Get out.
Do you have ceiling height?
Basically a standard garage. If you think about a 1-car garage,
a mile high.
That's what we're in.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Exactly.
I like that.
Honestly, I kind of love it. I'm thinking
So
about it, and I would kind of love it.
Yeah.
So the ceiling height is basically we have maybe 6 to 8 inches from the top of our hopping port.
Jesus.
To the ceiling.
Wow.
Yeah. So I've had to find some very creative ways to kind of get up there and
get the hops
in there.
like a measuring cup at a time.
One at a time. So it's basically the studio.
Yeah,
basically in the brewery.
Yeah.
Webstaurant.com has the perfect little picture containers.
Yeah.
We found them.
You guys are making me claustrophobic just thinking about it.
Come to the brewery on a brew day.
Spacious.
All right, let's take a break and drink a little bit.
Sounds good.
Sounds
it seems like a good spot to taste our first beer from you guys, which is what do we have? Screamin' Eagle American Lager?
My favorite.
Okay. That is a crystal clear beer right there. Filtered?
Biofine.
Biofine. Okay. Tell us about the beer.
Ben, you want to take that?
So the Screaming Eagle recipe was originally done with Santiago Rubino and I, who both work at Oak Barrel Winecraft. He works at Faction right now, and
nice.
we developed this recipe for a Super Bowl party.
The big game, you mean?
Yeah, he was like, I want an American light lager. I want something that's 3.5%, and we're going to cook hot dogs, and we're just going to do it like that.
Dude.
And I was like, dude, I don't want to make a light lager. That's like, big production beer and everything. And Homer came up and said, like, that's the most difficult beer to make. And I was like, I'm in.
Yeah, okay.
And the first year we did that, we actually won for that very first beer. We entered it at the World Cup of Beer, the homebrew competition, and won third place for that.
Nice.
And it was awesome. My dad came to visit that year.
Okay.
And he's from Iowa.
So he wanted it.
He loved it.
They give it a lawnmower
beer. We had a
beer.
great time. So it really turned it, and honestly, in the end, it became one of my favorite styles. I love making American light lagers. This is actually an American lager.
Is it all malt?
Standard lager. No, this is rice and corn.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hope you don't hate me for this, because I think it's a compliment. It is very akin to like a Budweiser.
Yeah.
Is that all right to say?
It's like a Budweiser that came straight out the brewery before it sat in a warehouse for 6 months.
Yeah, exactly. I mean it as a compliment.
I really think
style.
that those big breweries can actually make really good beers.
I do not disagree.
In their labs, they probably make great beers.
Yeah, but, and the reason Homer said it's so hard is because it's hard to make clean and you can't hide. This is very clean.
Any fault's going to come through.
Yeah. I can't find faults here.
I may or may not have finished off the growler.
Did you? You liked it, B.
It was really good. Yeah, no, I really liked it. Well, sorry, bro.
Go back to the brewery.
When we started this show back in 2005, I would have been like, yeah, no, it's a good beer, thanks, but no thanks. But now that like my palate it sort of comes like full circle.
It's funny like
I'd be happy to drink this all day too.
You're looking for faults and you can't find them in a beer like this. And
it seems like a trend that's happening though right now too.
People
are getting
Lagers
a little IPA
and I'm
worn out.
so excited the lagers coming back.
We're focused a lot on pilsners and various lagers and stuff like that.
I love this.
It's wonderful.
Well, and that's another thing. Back when we started, you couldn't really find very many good craft pilsners and lagers because brewers just weren't all that mature yet. Mm-hmm. It was pretty. I would always try it if a brewer had a lager on tap, and yeah, honestly, in 2005, like 8 out of 10 times they were not that good. And now that's changing. A lot of you brewers have really learned your craft, and so now I love to have craft lagers. You guys are just getting better at it. This is a good example of that. Does this sell well at the brewery?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does the Eagle sell that well? I know the Pilsners sell like crazy.
Okay.
Whenever we release anything that says Pilsner on it.
Got it. Do you go like all German on your Pilsner, or do you use American hops, or what?
It depends, but no, I try to stay as traditional as possible. But honestly, I mix things up. Whatever we have left over.
Okay.
I love using, as long as it's a noble style, like a Crystal or Labor Day or something like that. If we have that left over, there's no reason I'll buy Hirschbrucker or Hallertau just to get a German style. We can make it work with that. I really like using different hops to try and get the same taste out of things.
Okay. So just using the bittering units and some of those characteristics get the same.
I'm very, very strict about how we calculate our bittering units and everything like that.
Okay.
That's one thing that I think that separates us from a lot of other places is I've just come to really use the math and get the things really strict on how we do that. And we double batch everything. So
you
if
have
the first
to be careful.
batch, if we mess something up,
you can fix
by a
it.
few IBUs.
Oh yeah,
I don't know if I want to not double batch anymore.
Yeah,
it's like,
I always think of that when people say that. I'm like, wow, that sounds like a pain in the ass, but you're totally cheating. That's great.
To be fair, if we screw up the second batch as well, it's just going to mess it up. But it really, there have been a few beers where we really. We bittered one to no end, really bittered too far. And we did the second batch, and I did the math, and I was like, if we don't bitter this one at all, and we just boil it for 30 minutes and run it through,
it'll be fine.
It'll be perfect balance, exactly what we were shooting for at the very beginning.
Well, I don't have to tell you, the big brewers that you're giving props to and how good they are, they do the same fucking thing. All of those beers are blended. They totally are. They taste every day, and they blend those batches.
Budweiser makes their light lagers at like 10% and blends them all down.
Yeah.
Blends them to taste.
It's a smart thing to do.
Yeah.
What are the IBUs on this beer, on this lager here?
Oh, shoot.
Ish, even is fine.
4. 8 to 10.
It's low, right? And what hops did you use?
This one was Styrian Aurora, and actually it has a little more spiciness than my...
What was it?
Styrian Aurora.
Okay, got it.
Which is clean, a little earthy sometimes, but it has a really high alpha acid for what I consider to be almost a noble hop. It's kind of like a cross between an English and noble hop, in my opinion.
Are there late additions at all, or is that just like a bit?
A little bit of the Strisel Spalt, which adds that little spiciness to it.
Okay,
which is not what I usually have in this beer. It's just what I had around, and I love it.
We bought this Strisel spalt for the French ale, right?
Yeah, the French ale,
which is now the Belgian
ale.
We're going to try that
better in the tap room, apparently.
Fucking who cares, man?
Everybody's
it's all good.
confused about the French ale.
Yeah.
They don't know what to make of it.
No one knew what a French ale was, so we decided to call it Belgian.
They're like,
we have a crowler of that here for you guys.
Freedom ale.
It's like Freedom Fries.
Right? Yeah, we don't want those Surrender Monkeys beer.
That's right.
Make it Belgian. What do you think of this one, JP? It's kind of
it's gone. I like it.
Yeah, you went
I like
right
it very
for
much. Yeah. How? What's the hop weight in a beer like this for 3 barrels, 3.5 barrels?
I think the entire 3.5 barrel batch we added 12 ounces. I love that so much.
It's just nothing.
Homebrewers right now are
really
like
low
12 ounces.
too.
Awesome.
I mean, the Styrian Aurora is like I think around 8%, but the it's just a small. It's like it was 1.7%. 1.7% alpha acid. And I love that hop, and I always have loved those low alpha acid hop. Back when I worked at Oak Barrel, we had a Hirschberger that came in at 1.9,
wow.
and everyone hated it, and I was using it for everything. It's amazing.
Is it cheaper because it's low?
No.
It's still the same price?
No, and you don't know the alpha acid when you buy from these suppliers.
I'm surprised people even grow that shit anymore because brewers won't buy it, right? Except you.
Some people know.
Yeah, okay.
It's like ground crop cover at this point.
yeah.
Grows, so nothing else grows here.
But you notice that it did supplement. I mean, normally you'd use like a Hirschberger around 4% and use that for the whole batch. But
okay.
I use the Styrian Aurora because it has that kind of balance. It's soft. But it has a high alpha to give it the punch it needs to get better to sip.
Well, I would agree with you, but I drank it all, so and it finishes clean.
Well, let's move right on to the next beer because I don't want it to warm up too much while we have it in our glass.
Imperial quad Belgian.
Not this one. Here we have the All the Wiser Weizenbock, right?
That was close.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
No. Oh, you were close. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
So tell us about this beer while we taste it. It smells like a Weizenbock.
Yeah.
We went on a big Hefeweizen kick lately.
Okay.
We made when I was homebrewing, I used to do the summer wheat every summer, and I actually kind of killed it. I brewed it so often that I got sick of wheat beers, and I hadn't made them for many years. And actually, these last couple years, we did a couple last year, and this year we made 3 or 4.
I think the Hefeweizen kick definitely comes from the fact that we happen to have a pitch of 300 laying around.
Yeah.
Just laying around. Yeah.
Might as well use it again.
It's good yeast.
Well, to be fair, we got that from Drake's, right?
Okay.
Yeah. And it was a really healthy strain. We noticed how good it was, and so we were like, we need to make some more beers with this. And we made a Dunkelweizen. We noticed with our Dunkelweizens, too, they need a little more clarity. I'm always telling them not to strain the Hefeweizens or not to biofine them and everything else.
This one's not, is it?
Yes, it is.
This is biofine, too?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well, then you just did it right because it still has the right amount of cloudiness.
A little bit of haze, but it's not that cloudy mess. That
okay.
But,
and what character from the East were you going for in this beer?
Well, a traditional Hefeweizen strain. You want that banana and clove. But I always ferment really low in temperature.
Okay.
Scott's always fighting with that because he wants it done faster. Turns it up. But
do you turn it? Do you guys argue about the temperature? Do you go ahead and turn it up?
I put, hey, leave this at 62.
We argue about 2 degrees in temperature.
Yes.
Right, yeah.
2 degrees is important.
You have to. Yeah, absolutely.
Your team behind you is shaking their heads like, they argue.
This is great, though. This is why we not only make great beer that has the right profile, but we finish it faster than I would have done it myself.
I think if Justin and I opened
we
a brewery,
work together in that.
We'd argue about the same temperature.
Yeah, exactly. Like, no, 75. I know.
Yeah.
75.
That's wrong.
Well, the reason I ask what character you're going for is that when we get these yeast-driven styles in here, every brewer is different. And so yours, I think the last one we had in here, which wasn't too long ago, was a little more on the clove side. And yours, to me, is a little more on the banana side. So that's why I was wondering if that's what you were going for, or...
No, I actually try to subdue the banana as much as possible. I know there's a lot on the nose on this one.
Yeah, and maybe it does disappear.
And maybe that was
end,
Scott turning up the temperature. But no, I always shoot for You really want it there. Like a lot of homebrewers, maybe it's not true anymore, but back in the day, they always used to think you'd have to ferment at like 72 or something like that to get that banana flavor out of there. And that banana flavor, like this one, we started at like 64, I believe.
Okay.
And you still get the banana flavor.
You do, yeah.
And everything.
I'm not saying it's overwhelming, by the way.
No,
I think it's actually very balanced. My palate's just picking that up a little more than, and I'm a little sensitive to clove, so I think I would have picked that up.
I think the main thing I did for this was try to balance as much as possible. The only thing we did that's a little different than traditional Weizenbach is the clarity of it is a little more. Although Weizenbach sometimes were aged, so they'd be clear in general. But also that it's a little more bitter. I tend to bitter beers a little more for the brewery than I would on a homebrew scale for myself.
Is that for your audience, you think, for your customers?
It's personal preference for me that they'd be a little more malty-sweet, a little more of that malty combined with fruit component from the yeast and everything.
Yeah.
And with this one, I'm just tasting it now. I'm thinking, I could have bittered this a little less. But
so I think I'm like your customers because I also noticed that it was bitter, and it's one of the things I like about it. I don't like sweet, fruity beers all that much. So this has just a little banana, and there's definitely clove in there. And then I liked the dry, bitter finish. And you're right, it's a little out of style, but it would make me order it. I like that too. So I think you're keyed into your customers.
And it's been selling to surprisingly the people that come in that taste it. I've been really surprised that people that had known nothing about beer have just randomly kind of tasted it and really love it.
Yeah,
and it's such a homebrewer style.
It is really
down to it. So.
Do you guys argue about that, like styles in terms? In fact, Vonnie, I should bring you in on this because, like, from a marketing perspective. Like right now, Weizenbach is not the sexiest beer on earth, right? So you guys like go back and forth about what
it is
styles?
in our brewery.
We have so many customers that come in and say, "I'm so happy to see other styles than IPA."
Cool. Okay,
and
that would be me.
Yeah,
it happens every day.
So you don't worry about it then? You just brew what you want?
The idealist in me is thinking, it's finally changing back where I can create all these traditional styles.
Yeah. Well, don't jump the gun. Yeah, we'll see. You might be right. You guys, this is an 8% beer, though, too. This is a big beer for you guys.
8?
Yeah. It's what's in my notes.
8.0.
Is that a Weizenbach style too?
Absolutely.
It is up to 9. But it's a Bach, right?
Yeah.
So okay.
Yeah.
I always forget the Bach part. I'm thinking about the Weizen, but not the Bach.
That's why I was making the joke because it's like here's this 3-0 beer, and then we're going all the way over the thing. Yeah, I was like, wow, that's a contradiction. But
palate-wise, I think it worked.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. I would love to have this beer right after that.
Yeah.
That light lager,
like you did,
like I did. I would love to have. I would love to experience the thing I did.
Right.
Yeah.
What about the malt bill in this?
There's no malt in here.
Yeah, it's a no malt beer.
It's all hops.
Oh shoot. I used definitely the German when it came to. I used a German Munich too.
Okay.
I don't really care when it comes to wheat. Honestly,
just whatever brand you mean?
The white wheat, the red wheat, what brand it comes from. There are a few exceptions. I mean, some.
Is it Great Western in this? Pretty much.
I think it's Great Western.
Yeah.
What percentage is wheat?
Just a little over 50%.
And the Munich is not the base malt. That's just what's the base malt, or that's Munich.
With our Dunkelweizen, it was a much higher percentage. With this, it was a little less. I wanted the color to be kind of in between a Dunkelweizen and a Hefeweizen. I didn't want to go full on to the dark one.
Okay.
As an experiment, really. And
it's a good experiment.
I really like it,
Yeah.
Yeah, the malt balance is really nice. I mean, it's got a lot of body and good malt flavor,
Thanks.
I think it balances out. I don't feel like it's too bitter.
You don't?
No.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, I woun't say too bitter, but it's bitter at the end. It surprised me.
You get that almost
like
with a Hefeweizen.
Yeah, you might be right.
It adds that Christmas. With the Hefeweizen, sometimes you get that rounded, almost like a marshmallow, like fluffy character to it.
Mm-hmm.
And the bitterness for this brings it beyond that. And I did it on purpose. But I'm still kind of kicking myself.
I think it's okay.
It's a good thing you drink the beer and you make it again and you make it the way you want, know?
Yeah. And so you started, you say, at 64 degrees your fermentation.
Mm-hmm.
Scott, and then what happened?
Obviously, I took it up to 80. Right?
At some point, do you let it free rise, though? Or no?
We not only free rise, we have a very sophisticated heating system.
We have the best one around.
Well, and this is one.
Ben, one day, Ben was all pissed off that we couldn't raise the temperature on a beer fast enough.
It was last winter.
Okay.
It was a year ago.
That was last winter. Super cold. Yeah. And so I decide, you know what? That manway is just metal. And it goes directly through. It's not through the jacket. It goes directly through to the beer.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, I have a $30 space heater sitting right here on a ladder. And I
put ladder the exact height as the manway.
As the manway. So I'm like, I'm just going to put a heater on the manway.
Smart.
And let it sit there. Within 3 hours, it had raised 3 degrees.
No kidding.
And I run upstairs to the office and I'm like, Ben, it's already rising.
Depending on how active the fermentation is, like even without any active fermentation, it'll raise about 2 degrees a day.
So we are
with this space heater.
With a space heater.
Do you think New Belgium is taking notes right now? And they're like, oh, we have a space heater.
But I'm taking notes.
Yeah. Right? I don't know if this scales up.
I think Kieran is taking notes.
This is a 7-barrel fermenter, though. This is a 7-barrel
and
system.
It works great. We can raise.
That's awesome.
We can raise probably overnight with a space heater. We go from 62 degrees up to 70.
Wow. Okay.
Well, the thing, so I'm thinking back to my first winter as a professional brewer, which was at my brewery, and I started going into a panic because all the time home brewing, I would always do that free rise. I've got my little heater and my little, way to do that, and then you get to a big brewery and
it wasn't happening.
What are you going to do?
Tanks.
Yeah, it's almost it's easier in some ways.
I was like, I have no idea, but now we just.
It's easier to brew in hot
We just let it be cold.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing you can do.
It's much easier on a large scale with the glycol system.
Yeah.
To cool it, but heating it is actually more difficult because it has that glycol jacket insulating it.
Yeah, of course. It will not budge.
You cool yours with the glycol, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so you have a jacket. And then, so the heating up, though, is to kind of let it clean up and save time. In other words, like Teresa, you're saying, I just resigned to not heat it up. But that meant that you had to wait longer for the yeast to clean it up, right?
Right.
Okay.
So now, during the winter, our beers might take 2 days longer than they take in the summer.
Got it.
Because
we want to get
that
up there into the 68 to 72 degree range to do a diacetyl rest.
Yeah, okay.
And if you can't do that, there's hop creep. We've definitely had that happen.
We never experienced it on a homebrew scale, so we really didn't even believe in it.
Right.
And
then boom.
And then boom. Yeah, like 5 or 6 beers in a row.
And then just to clarify for our listeners, like dry hopping a beer is where it happens, right?
Dry hopping cold so that re-fermentation happens not maybe in the fermenter or even after biofine and into the keg. I think a lot of times they were hazy, so they weren't biofine. But even in the keg, it would happen where a fermentation would happen again because of the fermentable carbohydrates in the hops and just the
beer
reaction
tastes great
with it.
Right when you put it on tap, and then you come back 2 weeks later, and all of a sudden it's
weird
like,
fruitiness to it.
So then you believed in the hop creep.
It tastes like buttered popcorn.
Yeah.
Yep.
Someone described it to me like strawberry something, and that's the first time I was like,
I remember that. Okay. All right. Yeah, so if you can heat it up, though, you're not getting rid of hop creep. You're just sort of dealing
You're
with
allowing the fermentation to happen at a higher temperature so that it gets rid of the diacetyl that was created, that would otherwise be created by the hop creep.
Okay, a little faster.
Yeah.
This beer's not dry hopped, is it? The Weizenbock? No. Okay. Just traditional.
Any of the beers we brought today dry hopped? No. I don't think we brought any hoppy beers today. I mean,
JP's all right with that.
We always have hazy IPAs on tap. We always have West Coast IPAs on tap. We're always shooting for them.
They sell really well, so we have them
you don't have a choice.
But
to be fair, I was almost against hazy IPAs when we first started, and because I really love oats in beer, and I just really came to love the recipes. I really came to appreciate hazy IPAs.
Okay.
I really like it.
Yeah.
I really like doing it now, which is complete switch around from Scott and I at the very beginning.
Sure. Yeah. That's good, though. You're not afraid to learn new things and learn what you don't just have like some opinion that you won't give up no matter what kind of beer gets put in front of you.
Whoa.
For example.
Why are you pointing to him? Whoa.
I was just waving my hands around. I'm sorry. Okay. I was just waving my hands around. Yeah. Right. Didn't mean to. Bevo, though. She's pointing at me.
That would be the biggest mistake, right? I mean,
nobody wants to hold on to traditions and things that built nations and businesses.
To be fair, German lagers are still the best type of beer. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
It's the best thing about brewing, though, and this whole community. I've learned so much from other people and just asking questions.
Okay.
And people are in this industry are so willing to just talk.
Yeah.
And it's been one of the best things I've experienced in my life. And if you are, really dogmatic about how you do things, I think you're not learning.
Yeah.
And the best way to be in this industry is always evolving with other people.
Especially now. It's a tough market to not be willing to evolve.
Yes.
It also surprises me how forthcoming brewers still are with the amount of competition, but it actually seems to do the opposite than what you'd expect, and people just collaborate more.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Which is a little surprising because there's a ton of competition among you.
Is it just a Bay Area thing, or is it?
I don't think
more
so.
Countrywide?
In my experience from the interviews we've done, I think it's fairly countrywide, and especially
it came out of the whole homebrewing movement, I'm sure.
I think it came out of that, but I also think wherever you have a pocket of a lot of brewers, it's more prevalent, right? So I'm sure San Diego is like that. I think Portland is like that. Mm-hmm. I think when you get to the states that have fewer breweries, there's just less of a climate that enables it. So in other words, it's not that they're against it, but they're not getting together on a regular basis and going to everybody's brewery like we do here in the Bay because there's, I don't know how many of you, 500 of you or something. Yeah, so I do think that like just the quantity is a part of it. And again, you'd think the opposite. Like the more brewers, you'd think you guys would keep your secrets to yourself. But it's not like that at all.
I'll give you my recipe any day of the week.
Yep.
And if you make it better, all I ask is that you bring me a bottle.
Excellent. Okay. Well, I can't make it better, but somebody listening can. Let's take a quick break. We've got more beer to try, so I want to get those into our glass. So when we come back, more with Ocean View Brew Works. Hang in there. You're listening to The Session.
Hey, this is Julian Trego from Beechwood Brewing, and you are listening to The Session on the Brewing Network.
Welcome back to the program. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. And we are still hanging out with Ocean View Brew Works. You can go to oceanviewbrews.com if you want to learn more about them or where to find them. And, oceanviewbrews.com. Do you guys distribute at all? I know we have your beer on tap here at the Hop Grenade, so folks, if you want to come out and try it, it'll be here for another couple days. But other than that, it's just a tap room or what?
Currently,
minimally.
We're about 95% through the tap room, and we are also in several farmers markets, which have been amazing for us.
How do you do that? Do you have staff that goes to these or what?
We have staff.
Tamika here is at the Temescal Market every Sunday, and then we go
We go too. We were at Shadelands Farmers Market in Walnut Creek this last Saturday.
So you set up an Ocean View booth at the farmers markets.
So we basically you can get a Type 84 permit added onto your Type 23, which allows you to sell to taste up to 8 ounces per person per day.
It's like 167, dude,
and sell prepackaged beer. Which is awesome, and it changed like 2 years ago for us to be able to do that. So
that's great.
We took a hold of that and ran with it.
I've heard of this law, but I don't think we've done an interview yet with a brewery who's like, yeah, we're doing that.
Well, Scott and I come from a long history of farmers markets and that style of things. We both went to King Elementary, so we had like Alice Waters with her farm-to-table ideas, and then we worked on a farm in Santa Barbara and did the farmers markets for that farm. So farmers markets are near and dear to our hearts. So when we found out that this law had changed, we both said, yes, that is exactly the way that we meet our communities, and we get to know the drinkers, and we hear their feedback, and we market it in a place people are already doing their grocery shopping, where they see the humans behind it and they taste the product, rather than just looking at it on a shelf and saying, oh, I like that label.
It's the perfect environment for a small brewery like that.
No one else steal it.
A community-driven brewery like ours, where it's all about bringing your kid and your pets. And
the great thing that happened was we started in some farmers markets around us, and we just realized we did like a Saturday morning farmers market. talk to a bunch of people, and then that afternoon, all of a sudden, there's like 5 people from the farmers market that are there drinking beer.
Right, yeah.
It's like direct marketing.
You made them thirsty
Exactly.
just by being at the farmers. They're like, well, I'm done shopping now.
Yes.
I'll go to the brewery.
10 was a little too early, but
Yeah.
3 was great.
It's perfect, yeah.
It also it amazes me all the time the amount of people are like, 9:30, no problem.
Yeah, I'll take a sample,
Take a
sure. I mean, segue a second. Tamika, your lipstick is amazing, and I'm curious, does your lipstick always match your outfit? I'm just curious, is it just as a special occasion?
I found a new lipstick line,
Yeah.
and yes, from here on out, my
It's always gonna match?
Definitely match.
Hell yeah.
It is fantastic.
It's so rad. Yeah. You look amazing. And what a great ambassador. I was just curious. I was like, is this a special occasion or always? Okay.
It's called Ocean View Blue.
Do you
Ocean View.
There you go.
do you work at the tap room as well? Okay, I'm going to put this to the test. I'm going to show up on like a random Wednesday and
Okay,
see.
so wait.
Yeah.
You can show up at the tap room on Fridays.
On Fridays, okay.
Yeah. You can come to the farmers market on Sunday.
Okay.
And I bet you my lipstick will be popping.
I love this. Okay. I'm putting this to the test. Yeah. And Bevo wants to know what line of makeup you have found.
Yeah, I want to know what line of lipstick that is.
Yeah.
It's Ocean View Blue.
Afterwards, I got you.
Yeah. I love this.
Gonna straighten up Beth's vibe right now.
Oh, God, could you imagine me trying to rock a blue lip, though?
No.
Yes, just one.
Not everybody can pull
No,
that off.
I could never.
Tamika's rocking it. Not
She
everybody
looks
can pull that off.
amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
We will find a color that matches.
That's right.
We'll find the right blue.
This is going to be a whole web series.
I want to find my color, too, though.
Give Bev a makeover.
Yeah. I like this.
I like it, too.
Give Bev a makeover. It's our new show on the Brewing Network.
Yeah, because I need reasons to make me feel older. Thanks, guys.
All of us, really.
Yeah.
Well, let's try some more beer because it's in our glass. Is that all right to do?
Yeah.
I thought so.
I poured them all together in the same glass. Is
You
that
did,
cool?
just to make your own blend?
Expediency. Well, I want to eat dinner.
Well, we've got 3 in front of us, so why don't we start, though, with the Pied Piper, which is your... Now, you have it listed in my notes as the French ale, but is this the one that's now called a Belgian ale?
Yes.
But Ben, you designed it as a French ale?
Yeah.
Which one is it? The lighter colored one?
When it comes to naming beers,
the darker one.
in the tap room,
the lighter. Okay.
Yes. When it comes to naming beers in the tap room, how do you, we never make the same beer twice.
Okay.
So how do you name beers and the Belgian versus French? I don't know if they knew how strongly I felt about this being a French ale.
Meaning you walked in one day.
It was a Belgian ale,
and you were like, "What the fuck?"
And I was like, "Yeah, okay, that'll probably sell better anyway."
Okay.
But this beer is kind of special to me because I wanted that spiciness, I wanted that dryness, I wanted that caramel. This beer, if it was a little more sweet and it had a little more of that Belgian character, would be a double. But it's
a dark one.
French.
It is the dark one.
You're drinking the wrong one, Ben.
See, I was going off of Ben.
Yeah, I heard what you said, and I was like, that's not right.
I was just looking at what Ben was drinking.
And I was trying to put it together, and I'm like...
not.
You corrected it at the right time because I was like, "This is a fucking good French ale."
Ben's
But it was
right.
the wrong
Apparently,
one.
Ben was right.
Which is bitter.
Which means I was right.
It's the lighter one.
No, the lighter one is the new bitter. She poured that last.
Ben, you're playing for 2 here, so you better be right.
I don't care.
Oh,
no, shit. He doesn't care.
I think Bonnie's right.
I've also been drinking the black lager on everything else.
I'm also right because I put them in that order.
Bevo poured them, and okay.
Here, watch.
It doesn't matter.
Here's the Fool's Gold. We can all do a color
Well,
comparison.
I think most importantly, though, Ben, it's French ale. You're right. Like it's not a Belgian.
Spicy and dry.
And
it's French ale. If it was not a French ale, it would be a double, and it would be a little more sweet, and it would have a little more of that caramel character to it, and everything else.
And I get the marketing thing, and so maybe a bunch of people who come in and try it, like they're not going to know the difference. But a bunch of beer geeks are going to come in and go, "Well, he kind of failed at that Belgian ale." I'm sorry to go on Ben's side here for a second, but
go ahead.
It's it's not very Belgian-y. It's very French.
It is very French, absolutely. Also, I think Ben is correct when he said he doesn't care which beer it is because they're both very good.
They are both very good.
Look at the other one.
They really are both very
now,
good. Yeah.
I'm the one that has to work.
And then another thing Ben did right that no one else did is this.
So that's Melina. Pull the microphone over by you,
Melina
Melina.
Martinez.
Okay, one of the brewers, right?
Yes.
And in charge of the barrel program, too? Did I have that in my notes?
All
the cellar
of
work.
the cellar work that happens.
Okay.
I'm the one that does all the work that Ben
points and says,
Pull that microphone all the way up with you.
I am the one that does the work.
There we go.
With Ben.
Yeah.
Okay. And did you argue whether or not this was a Belgian or a French ale, or about the name?
I argued for Belgian because it was not very French, and people don't really have an understanding of what French is.
Okay.
So when you taste it, you get these weird esters.
What is your understanding of what a French ale is?
Oh, here we go. Love this.
And instantly, I would not want to work with Ben.
Welcome to my life.
I feel like that's Homer somehow coming through, too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just channeled Homer.
No, it sounds like Melania's eyes conversation.
You just keep asking until...
like she said, I come in and I say, you're doing that wrong. And she says, no, I'm doing it better. And sometimes she's right.
I think it's missing a lot of the ester profile that would be a Belgian, right? And then it's missing some of the sweetness, although it's kind of low AB. Oh, no, it's 8.5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so if it were 8.5 Belgian, it would be a little sweeter than it is, too.
This is 8.5?
But I totally agree that like a bunch of people don't know, the difference. It's a really nice beer, though.
It's
Let's talk about why it's called Pied Piper.
Okay, why is it called Pied Piper?
No, I was just getting off topic. We like the TV show, and Pied Face means really drunk, and it's a high ABV for us. So we thought, call it Pied Face, like super drunk.
We got into Silicon Valley
so Scott wanted to call it that.
hardcore, and then
great show.
Like, Pied Piper, that's a great Belgian.
I was gone for a weekend, and this happened.
And this all. I feel like a lot of things happen when Ben leaves.
Ben's more of a moonlighting guy. All moonlighting references, but
wow, that's some old school shit, JP.
Yeah.
I don't know what's wrong with me.
You'd have to go to the Wayback Machine.
Yeah,
it's also a sleeper at 8.5 because it drinks really easy.
Literally.
Yeah.
Well, but that's part of what I was talking about is starting at really low temperatures and then ending at really high temperatures to make sure you get that proper attenuation.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously it's a very dry beer, so we I think this one went to 85% attenuation, maybe even further.
Yeah,
no,
it went down
this
to
was
10.06.
This was like 88 or something like that. This is crazy attenuation because this was it was a blend of the wheat beer yeast and the French Saison yeast.
Yeah,
10.06. That's super dry.
It went to almost 90% attenuation. And,
wow.
I mean, but
the same thing happened with I think the ESB, right? We got 82% on that.
Now we always do these methods where we start low and then Scott fights me and gets it higher, and that's beside the point.
The fermentation temp,
but we start low and then we end high near the end of fermentation and make sure that we raise that we make the yeast finish to full attenuation as well as drive out all the bad characteristics they have, like diacetyl and stuff like that. But especially for lagers. But I don't know.
It helps
makes
attenuate.
This really smooth beer.
Yeah.
But it also gives all the flavor components you really want. Like you said, it had plenty of banana in the Weizenbach, but we fermented that pretty cool compared to some of the other ones.
Okay, but to attenuate like this, it's more than fermentation temperature.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. I don't know if it's a seasonal thing. I don't know if it's a yeast thing, but
it's also mash temperature.
That's what I'm getting at. Yeah.
Maybe that's the thing too. Maybe that's it because it's
this
like whole cold season. We've been experiencing extreme attenuation rates.
So we're starting with like lower grain temperature, graining in, and we're getting we grain in usually around we shoot for 148 on most beers.
Okay,
but they grain in with a roll-up door wide open to the outside temps in a fairly uninsulated one-car garage-sized room, which our grain is stored in. So we're pretty much brewing outside.
Yeah.
So our outside beer temps are kind of what's in the garage.
I account for that
but your single infusion, you're going for 148 as your infusion, not your strike. Like it's 148 is what you're mashing at. Is what you're saying.
With most beers, unless we're trying to do something different.
We hit a range. I gave up on trying to hit a very specific temperature.
You know what? I've actually enjoyed going into the 146, 145 range, no problem, and getting perfect, attenuation.
Are you noticing more attenuation when you do that? You are.
I noticed this when I was home brewing.
Okay,
and that's why I started always going more towards the lower end of the spectrum.
Got it.
Well, personally, when I started commercially brewing, and you guys have been going for 2 years, so you probably dialed this already, but I found that everything dries out way more than you would think, just because efficiency is better. So whatever you have in your malts, your base malt is going to be a higher contribution. So you need to kind of up your specialty malts as well to balance that out, or else everything is just going to dry out. Mm-hmm. And I've heard this from other commercial brewers too. I mean, that's one of the things you grow to expect.
I think some of it has to do with the way that the wort is oxygenated. I mean, almost all of our systems have a inline oxygenation system that most homebrewers don't have. I did find, though, that I had to actually tone down, like, crystal malts and stuff like that so that it didn't give an overly sweet character.
So what's the malt bill on this one look like?
Which one are we talking about?
The French.
The French? Ooh.
The Pied Piper, sorry, Bunny.
I believe I used the Belgian Pilsner, the Belgian Munich, and a bag of malt that was given to me by some homebrewers.
Sounds unique.
No, they won it. They won it in like a Bay Area Mashers competition, and it's a Swan Gold. I don't know if it's Swain or Swan. They have a Swan as their label.
Okay,
it's a company out of the Netherlands. But it's a Munich malt, but it's a really dark Munich malt. It's like a 55.
Oh wow!
And I've used it in a ton of our recent beers, and it is amazing.
It must have been a small percentage in this if it's that dark.
I use for these. We're a small brewery,
so a couple, but still a couple percent
3.5
of
barrels.
the...
I use like 8 pounds.
Okay,
something like that.
All right, And you like the malt? How it came out?
I love the malt.
Okay.
I love that crystal malt. I want to use it in everything now, and all I have to do is convince Scott to let me buy a pallet.
Is it crazy expensive, though, probably?
Well,
the cool thing is, though,
the closest distributor is in Ohio. So
some of these malts, Oak Barrel has them, and we only need, like, on our system, a few pounds.
Got it.
We can go down there and pick up some malt from
for
them.
very small amounts that we know we're not going to use again, like American roasted barley, which I use only for my Irish Red and nothing else. Then I'll go down to Oak Barrel, and sometimes I'll even it used to be my favorite thing back in the day was whenever I designed a recipe when I worked at Oak Barrel, because he'd pay for us to brew the beer and then put it on tap, and I could take some home as well. Like I said, Bernie's the
great
best
job.
boss.
Yeah,
Homer is the
second best
person to learn from.
yeah.
Aside from painting,
so you got to experiment with all this stuff anyway.
I got to experiment, but it was like if I want a Crystal 120.
Yeah.
I will go and we'd get Crystal 120. We'd get the British from different things. We get it from Crisp, or we get it from Simpson. We get some UK type malt, whatever. But we get a similar to 120. We just sell it as a 120 because that's what it is. You have to be general when you're about that. So I would go and I would taste the British 120, and I'd taste the American 120, and then I'd go and taste the Special B from Belgium, and I'd go and taste the Especial from the Patagonian malt.
And there's a difference, right?
And there's always a difference. There's not only a difference between all those different brands, there's a difference from lot to lot.
Okay.
There's a difference. The Patagonian might have been the best last time, but somehow, by some miracle, the American is best this time.
I see.
And so I still do that when it comes to these small amounts that we need. Just because
you guys are lucky that way.
We're lucky that way. We're a small brewery, and we're able to do that.
So then, and I can tell how much you enjoy that, both of you. Mm-hmm. Do you guys want to become a bigger brewery? Do you want to be a 30-barrel brew house? Do you? Okay. So
30,
you want to grow
30,
some...
30? 25?
Well, there's
30?
The whole craft brewing industry scares me a bit right now.
Yeah.
So
it's a little nerve-wracking.
It's a little nerve-wracking, and there's some
so slow growth,
hesitation on taking on a bunch of money and going to a bank and getting a big loan and growing up. And a lot of the trends that you see out there are focusing more on smaller community-based breweries.
Sure.
So we're kind of playing the fine line right now of where to go on that.
Okay. All right. Because you would lose also some of this. Well, you don't just get to go cruise down to Oak Barrel and then buy 2 pounds only of
No, it just means
whatever.
we buy a pallet of this and we decide where to use it.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's still we can still remain the same in that way. I like I said, I want to buy a pallet. Even this, I want to buy a pallet right now from LD Carlson because it's the closest distributor for that Gold Swan malt that I want. That is.
Do you want me to ask Scott if you can buy a pallet?
Yeah, please.
I think Scott approved it in the brewery earlier. I think
I'm pretty sure by saying this right now that it's going to happen.
It's on radio.
If not, just
podcast.
you're gonna walk in the brewery tomorrow. It's playing. Just this segment is playing right when Scott walks in the brewery. That's a weird coincidence.
Hey, we'll cut it and loop it for you. It's no problem.
Well, if you're talking about when it comes down to Budweiser and you're talking about every single penny and everything like that, but if you're a craft brewer and you really want to do something, you're going to do it.
Well, and not just any craft, but even at your size, even more so. Like, in other words, you don't have to worry as much about efficiency as, say, I don't know, even the 21st Amendment, which is not this massive brewery, but they got a big brew house, right? Mm-hmm. And the efficiency is something to them. They've got, you guys, you're not so worried about like getting every single thing out of your malt, or buying a couple pounds here and a couple pounds there. You guys, you have some flexibility there.
We do.
You're probably also broke, but you're having fun.
You know.
Well, you put that very succinctly.
2 years, so.
You could have a much bigger brewery and still be super broke. So
yes.
don't feel bad for it.
Absolutely.
At least this January is proving better than last. I mean, we made it through the rainiest, wettest, coldest first year, and I'm surprised we're still here.
Last year
and
was
this celebration
Was
this
it?
year is going to be really exciting.
Do you mean just getting people out to the tasting room? Is that what
We're
you're talking
75% outdoor space.
When it pours rain and it's cold, it just shuts down.
Okay.
Yeah.
We try to make up for it the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Well, we went through not only that, but we were brand new, had a great kind of summer buildup, had the fires in California. Super excited. We did the Resilience Project. We gave back. We did food drives. We were really gung-ho on all those things. Fire stopped, rain started, and then it just rained and rained and it rained, and it was really a downer.
We
But
live in California.
California needs it, but yeah.
You know.
But your bank account doesn't.
It should rain every single night from 12 to 3.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't rain when I'm open, please.
But it really, I mean, it really made us rethink how we brought people into the brewery and how we sold ourselves as a business and what we were there for, and it gave us that ability to say, hey, that's as bad as it can be. We've got to be sustainable going into the future. And so we kind of went about things differently than I think other breweries did, maybe opening 5 or 10 years ago, because we didn't have that luxury of a nice opening year. We never had that big peak.
Yeah.
So, segue a little bit. One of the things we're really excited about right now is Beer Week. Coming up here real quick. And
you guys doing some events for that?
We have a ton of events.
Can I just say that I think that if you were to advertise that Ben and Scott will be in the tasting room arguing with each other more often, maybe with a little bit of Melina like scolding them, you'd get more people to come out just to watch that shit.
So we actually have this going on already?
we talked about this the other day.
That's an everyday event. It's like, just come in and I will be yelling at both of them.
I love that.
When Scott and I went over a general consensus of what we might want to talk about during this podcast, we realized that we could probably have our own podcast.
Yeah.
As long as we're talking about beer, it can go on all day, every day. I didn't have the idea of Melina there to scold us, though. That's the.
I feel like
how we keep the brewery running.
That's what brings it home.
You need a host for sure.
That's why you come to
one day
professionals.
Melina showed up at our bar.
Is this what happened?
Said,
oh, God.
I mean, she should really
Like a
tell
stray
this story
dog, she
because
says.
this is how everyone comes to work for us. See, people don't realize this, but Tamika, we have a storage unit that we all have our extra pieces in, and Tamika runs the public storage, and she watched our kids a couple times. She's a beer enthusiast, and one day I said, Tamika, we need some more employees. When are you going to work for us? And she thought I was joking, and she said, no, I will.
Oh, yeah.
So now she represents us. A good friend of ours in the neighborhood, he came in all the time, we became good friends, and now he works for us like another neighbor. He's one of our taproom associates. So Melina's story is very similar, and this is kind of how our taproom has been built, and it's kind of that style we go for of the Cheers bar where we know our regulars' names. We know who you are if you come in. We want to have you be a part of our project.
Melina stands apart because she came in one day and was basically like, yeah, you're going to hire me.
The first time I walked around the tap room, I didn't actually go in because I was too nervous.
Oh, really?
Some vibe was like, go away. And then the day that I did show up was like, come in.
Well, the first day Ben was standing in the doorway.
Melina, were you a brewer before?
So I was a teacher before. I was a third grade reading teacher before, and I did not like my job, and I had a really bad experience, and I left that job, and then I found home brewing, and I thought, this is amazing. And I walked into this tap room, and Ben was brewing a black lager, and I talked to the tap room person, and the taproom manager actually came out that day and was going to take pictures to post on Instagram that we need to hire somebody. And I was like, hey.
I'm standing right here.
Look at me. Look at me. I'm right here. Yeah. That was Sammy Girl. Yeah. Sammy Girl was about to take pictures. So I got an interview that day. The next day I showed up and I was like, Sammy, I like this place. Let's do this.
Wow.
Scott and Bonnie were out of town. So I was like, I'm going to leave you a cover letter. And she's like, no, it's not that formal. You don't need to do that. And I was like,
they'll hire anybody.
I've been working on this for a while. I'm going to leave you my cover letter. And she's like, okay.
I don't think you heard me. I'm going to leave this.
When I saw Scott, he was like, I read your whole cover letter. It was amazing. Like I read the whole letter, the whole thing I read. So yeah,
nice.
That was
really. He was just terrified of
Scott
you and wanted to say
excited.
the right thing.
Usually about the right things.
He picks well, I have to say.
Yeah, he picks well.
And Sammy Girl's my sister-in-law, so she's it's definitely family operations.
It sounds like
she
it.
has good choice too. I mean,
Yeah.
Here I am.
There.
2 years later.
And you brew with Ben, right?
I brew with Ben.
Yeah.
Definitely, Ben was one of the ones that showed me what to do. Scott is a very good teacher as well because he never gets mad at me when I mess up. He just kind of lets me do my thing.
Well, he was a stoner for a long time, so.
And so am I. So it works out just fine. That's fine. We just get along really
you
well.
can't yell at stoners.
And I have a great picture of Benjamin and I where we're home brewing together, and all he's doing is like pointing, and I'm down there doing all the work.
I'm not mad. I'm just nitpicking.
No, that's kind of how it goes. I'm just going to point and tell you what to do.
I'm trying the Homer method.
It's good. 2 different teachers, really good mentors, and here I am.
And it's your full-time job now?
This is my full-time job. This is what I do. And I was on vacation for a week. Thank you. I was on vacation for a week, and I was at the grocery store feeling all the tension of people having to go back to work, and I was thinking, I'm going to go make beer.
Yeah.
Like when I go back to work, I'm going to be making beer, and I'm so happy about that.
Different than going back to the school year.
Super different.
Yeah.
Very, very, way less
Bonnie has no idea what that's like.
No, I quit that job. I'm done.
So who's working at the brewery right now? If everybody who's in here...
Who's at the brewery right now?
Aaron is holding down the chapter
Aaron's
for us.
currently running it.
We love you. She's listening to us right now.
Let's give our love out to Aaron. And Tyler and Ben
and Taylor.
We have an amazing staff.
God, maybe you guys are broke because you have an enormous staff.
They take care
What the hell are you thinking?
We don't keep them working that long.
Well, let's try another beer.
Let's go.
There's one that's not on my list, so I don't know what you want to try
need more bitter
first.
because I thought it was the Weizenbach.
You want to go for that one instead of the Midnight Sun? You want to do the bitter first?
Oh, absolutely.
Tell me what it is because it's not on my list.
The black lager should be last.
We'll do that last.
So the bitter we just released today.
Okay. What's it called? What is this? What was the goal?
Okay, so it's called Fool's Gold.
Okay. Yeah.
Because our 2-year anniversary is going to be nautical themed and pirate themed. So
Why?
we're
Oh, because you guys are Ocean View. Okay.
Which would be
a dumb question.
Yeah, original name of Albany for a year. We don't have an Ocean View. Sorry. Stand on our roof.
Oh yeah, don't gloss over that. So Ocean View was the city's name originally.
For one whopping year.
Okay. Which is like when? What?
1907 to 1908.
Okay.
And then their mail kept getting mixed up, so it was sent out to Ocean View in San Francisco and all the other Ocean View districts. Berkeley had an Ocean View that is 4th Street now, and the West Berkeley part. But Albany got mad because Berkeley was dumping their trash at the bulb. So a bunch of women went out with shotguns and blocked the trash wagons from dumping their trash at the beach.
Okay.
The next...
Why is your logo not women with shotguns?
Please. So many times.
There will be a beer. There will be a beer.
Yes.
There are a lot of women here for our brewery. We feel like we're doing a good job.
You are doing a good job, but that just would have been so badass.
It would have been pretty badass, but we do love our logo too. See if you haven't seen it. Really
I have, yeah.
Big form, everybody.
That could definitely be a beer label for sure. You know how the 2&A, they like to do the walk to celebrate the end of Prohibition?
Yeah.
That march?
Yeah. They could celebrate the women with shotguns. Yeah.
So a year, I guess a little while later, the mayor said, hey, we got to pick a name. Got a lot of money riding on Albany because I'm from Albany, New York.
Okay.
And so they went with Albany, which is not nearly as exciting as Ocean View.
No, it's not.
Not at all.
But you don't have an Ocean View like you said,
he was from
right?
Albany, New York. It's
Yeah.
so boring.
I know.
Yeah.
And anyways, we thought we would go with something that was very unique to where we were and really kind of represented the neighborhood.
I like it.
We shopped around a lot of ideas, and it really fit with sort of the style that we wanted to go with and how we wanted to represent that we are from here.
What was Ben's idea that you guys shot down?
We did not ask him.
Didn't even.
Not my department.
I think we designed it with this artist named Scott Kimball, who I ran into at Benoit Casper. I had my kid in the carrier in front of me, and this guy and I started chatting. He's like, "Hey, I'm a graphic artist," and I said, "Oh, great! Show me your work." He showed me some pictures, and I was like, "Those are kind of cool. Here, let's trade information. Great." A couple of weeks later, I emailed him, and he said, "No one's ever done that before."
Oh, wow.
And it's at a point where there was nothing there, so we were just kind of shopping stuff around and
coming up with an idea.
Like, hey, you know what? I kind of liked his artwork. Let's reach out.
Yeah.
And
it's nice. You got the whole bay in there.
Yeah,
a little bit of everything.
He's an amazing artist, and he does a lot of great stuff, as you can see with our cans.
All right, so tell us about the beer.
Okay, well, then I have to turn it over because Fool's Gold is only so I can sell our 2-year anniversary party.
That's my
department. No.
Which is when? When's the anniversary party?
On February 9th, which is in Beer Week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Fantastic.
All right.
So we've had many ESBs come through the tap room, and we started on this whole Fool train at one point.
I believe this is my baby.
Yes, it is your baby. Fool me once, fool me twice. Go take it.
Fool me thrice.
Fool me thrice.
Can't fool me again. Fool me once, no shame on me.
What is the beer style?
It's a bitter, but that's the whole Fumi thing is you're not allowed to call beer bitter because someone will come into a beer and they'll be like, "Oh, we have this lovely beer and it's a bitter." He's like, "Oh, I don't like bitter beer. Give me the IPA."
I'll take the IPA.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So
JP, you really should have been a bartender.
I really should have.
Just to stand there and make fun of these people.
Yeah, I wouldn't have worked very long.
No, but it would be fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can't call it that, but that's what style it is.
But this is where we really put it to the extreme. It went much drier for some reason this season. All of our yeasts have gone well
this
beyond.
This particular strain was we get all of our 002
This is English ale yeast.
It's 002 from Marin Brewing. From Arnie.
From Arnie.
And we've gotten many of his strains before, but this particular one just went gangbusters.
We did 3 or 4 beers with this, and all of them got to like 84% attenuation on 002.
Is that London Ale 002?
No, it's English ale yeast.
It's just English ale. Okay,
it's the White Labs English Ale. The 1968, I believe, is the same from Y Yeast. But, I don't know which one he uses, but
White Labs is great anyway.
But it just tore through everything, and this was the last thing we used it on, and it came in at 7.2% alcohol
we had
for an English bitter.
That's high, right?
Yeah.
It's supposed to be like 4.
Bev had to warn me. She's like, this is 8%.
Yeah.
I saw him go into town on it, and I was like,
whoa.
I feel like I should let you know that this is an Imperial ESB.
Tell me if it tastes like it's 7.2.
It does
No,
not.
it doesn't.
Not at all.
Not even close.
It actually uses Admiral malts, too, as their base.
This is another reason why it's so high. We were using Admiral malts for a little bit and getting some...
We got high efficiency this time from that.
Well, what was happening was we were buying the malt, and we don't have a grain mill. So everything from BSG or CMG is coming in on their pre-mill. So, wanted to use Admiral as much as possible, but the only way to do it was to buy Admiral malts and take 7 bags of Admiral malts over to the oak barrel.
And mill it.
Use their mill and sit there and just mill it through their mill for 3 hours.
Good thing they like you.
Right?
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Okay.
It can be great fun if you're not in a hurry.
Right.
You'll taste whiskey, whatever.
Okay, yeah.
So we were noticing that we were getting pretty low efficiency on the malt. And recently Admiral got their own mill and started milling to spec. And immediately our efficiency went through the roof. So we're
interesting.
Getting like 82, 80, 5% efficient.
They did it just in time. We're like about to complain about the fact that we weren't getting enough efficiency, and then did that, and immediately we got higher efficiency than any.
No, the funny story is Ron emails me. I just had to mill 20 bags of malt at the oak barrel because we don't have a mill and we need an order out.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
I'm buying a mill.
Right.
We're buying a mill.
I know you love that. They won't listen to you. But whenever somebody has to do it themselves, I always tell my managers here, if you want something fixed, make me do your job for 2 hours. And then I'll go, oh, yeah, this does suck.
The first batch he ever made on that was milled at Oak Barrel because I helped him with it. He came by Oak Barrel, and he brought some of the stuff there, and we did a trial batch. at Oak Barrel.
I was there.
That was years ago. Yeah, you stopped by.
I was there.
Man, that was really
when I first met Ron.
That's before we really got started.
Absolutely.
Really, you even asked me to get part of Ocean View.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Oh, and the funny thing with Admiral Malts, too, so I went to college in Santa Barbara and ended up working on an organic farm down there, Shepherd Farms. And through that whole experience, I met Curtis Davenport.
Well, the farm had acreage in the Santa Ynez Valley, and so we could have the orchard there and the grapes, and then he gave each of his farmers kind of a little plot to play with.
Okay.
So Scott had a plot and Curtis had a plot.
Oh, nice.
And then there was the Sedgwick Preserve, and we would stay in the ranch house at night, and everyone would chat and have some beers, and
Curtis
so they got
had
to talking.
some killer melons. I remember that.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude.
The kind you eat.
Representation.
The ones that you eat.
Oh, okay.
Not in comparison or anything.
Both are true.
So Curtis Davenport, I started talking with him a little bit through this whole process, and I ended up making cider I made a press on our back porch and made cider for Tom Shepard's wedding. That was a fun one.
That was the farm owner?
That was the farm owner,
Okay, yeah.
And then Curtis was always talking about, malting his own grain. And we had a little back and forth about that. Time goes on.
When growing your own hops.
Yeah. Time goes on. It's like 5 years down the road, and I'm about to open a brewery, and Admiral Malts is about to open at the same time, and I'm all over it like, oh, you guys are doing some awesome stuff with malts. I'll go on the website and look at the people, Ron and Dave, yeah. And Curtis Davenport.
Ah.
I'm like, what the?
So he is growing malt.
He's the head maltster now.
Oh, he's the maltster
with Admiral
there.
Malting.
Got it.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's the guy.
Okay. I've seen him raking the floors in there because they do the floor malting there. Okay.
So it was just a wonderful full circle
absolutely.
thing in life. And it's like, oh, well, now I own a brewery and you're making malt. That's
yeah.
amazing.
So is this 100% Admiral Malt in the bitter?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay.
For the base malt, yeah.
For the base malt,
Yeah.
I see.
Made in Voyage? Or?
I used some corn. I used some. I might have even used some of that same Swan Gold 55 in this. I don't recall. I tried to use it in everything.
Did you design it to be an imperial bitter, or that just happened?
Yes, I wanted to make. I've been joking around for a long time about making an American bitter. And that's where the Admiral Malt came in. And we were actually going to make this with 001. We were going to make this with California ale yeast, and then Arnie came through with the 002
Nice.
at the last
crazy
minute.
002, yeah.
With
Does he just,
crazy 002.
Does he just show up with jugs of yeast or something?
Scott's the man.
More like
Honestly,
we show
Scott's
up.
the guy.
Yeah, okay.
He's talking to all these different breweries.
I'm the one that walks around to breweries begging for yeast.
You do, okay.
We call Scott the Yeast Wrangler. That's pretty much actually his title, but we don't want to say it.
Right.
It's like one of his titles.
Yeast panhandler.
That's better.
Yeah.
Yeast bearer pitch.
Yeah. Yeast busker.
No, Scott does the work, though. I think it comes back to the camaraderie of what I consider to be about the Bay Area brewers. We're all sharing yeast. We're all sharing ideas. We're all sharing recipes.
Arnie's definitely part of that, too. He's a good guy.
Oh, Arnie's a great guy.
Yeah. All right, we're running out of time, so I want to taste the last beer, too. Midnight Sun. This one's your black lager.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about this beer.
I'm always striving for a better black lager.
It's tough to make a good one.
I always go for the, forgive me if I pronounce this wrong, but the Kostritzer, the more dry, roasty style. But the struggle for me is always, one thing that really separated almost all my beers is over the last few years is for making them better was getting the right mineral profile.
Okay.
But for this one especially, it's about getting the right... I want that jet black color.
Yeah.
And even this one you'll see is not jet black.
It's close.
It's close. It's not jet black because I've toned it back because I also want the right flavor.
Yeah, you don't want it to be acrid and chalky.
Well, for 100% alcohol beer, it tastes pretty smooth. I mean,
this one's 5%.
Oh, see,
JP.
there we go. Now this is what we're talking about.
Back to style.
Be in the middle somewhere.
Yeah, we're all over. We actually keep going. What did we do tonight? Let me just look. We went like 3.5, 4 to 8. Then we went 8.5 to 5. 8.5, 8, 5.
I'm right.
We are bouncing. There's
so
nothing
much
in
for
between.
plus or minus 5. Huh?
Yeah.
Because our brewery, for a long time, we've always joked about making just saying screw it and make a brewery called plus or minus 5.
Yeah. Now it's more than that now.
Yeah.
So good choice on the name.
I think that's the winter time.
So this one also super well attenuated, right? It's nice and dry. I think you're getting your Kostritzer profile.
Over 80%,
yeah.
That's really nice.
A fun technique that Ben has done a few times is adding carafa on the top of the mash in order to get more of a black color.
Without all the fermentable?
You grind it fine. This is another instance where oak barrel comes in handy. Is we'll buy a bag of some dark malt, some black malt, or some Carafa 2 or something like that. Most recently was a bag of Carafa 3. We've been working We're out, by the way, so I get to try something new. But I really did like the Carafa 3. But and then taking it to oak barrel and running it through their fine grind, through their old school 1930s coffee grinder thing, whatever the hell it is, and getting that real fine grind, and then just sprinkling it on top of the mash at the end of the
just for color, right? Not even for flavor.
Yeah, you get a lot less bitterness out of it if it doesn't sit in the mash the whole time. That's the basics.
This is a really nice beer.
I really enjoy a black beer that doesn't have that super roasted character. Like it's malty and it's substantial and dark, but it's not like roasty
depth to it. Like Kostritzer definitely has a dryness to it and a lightness to it that's almost like a light lager that I have not replicated here. I've done it before on a homebrew scale, but trying to, I've found that when converting from a homebrew scale to a larger scale, just converting to a larger scale in general, you can't get as much color without getting too much roastiness. In my systems, at least, I don't know.
There's not too much roastiness on this one.
Yeah.
And I think, if my memory serves me through the entire night, this is your sweetest finish. It's still dry, don't get me wrong. It's not cloying. There's nothing wrong with that. But it has like the most body and just kind of a lingering sweetness that backs up the roast to it.
For me, it might match with the French, but yeah.
Okay.
There is definitely
That's because I made it.
This one? Melina, you made this one?
Because she's so sweet.
Yes,
yeah. I like it. I'm saying that as a positive note. That it has.
I agree.
Yeah, the roast is backed up by a nice, just mildly sweet finish. It's not coating my palate.
Not overwhelming.
No. I like it. Yeah.
You are overwhelmingly sweet.
Also,
I am overwhelming.
There's a little like a tart, like an acidity to it, which I think is very complementary to that roast, to a little bit of that sweetness. It sort of helps to contribute to that dryness.
Lingering, muddying character to it that I don't know. Ask any of these guys. I'm overcritical of my beers, and I always try to make perfect black lager.
Yeah.
And this is a beer that I've been working on for so many years.
It's very good.
And I thought I had it
the beer
perfected
that I walked in on
when I was making.
Yeah, that was the beer
right?
when you were making it that first time.
When I was making 35
This one
gallons
is
at a
better.
time, I had this beer down, and now that I'm making 120 gallons times 2, I just
fucked it up.
No,
We'll get it there.
We'll get it there.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
I like it too.
Yeah.
But
it also has.
Look forward to better versions as well.
It has the best head retention of all the beers, at least in front of us right now. They've all been sitting there the same amount of time. Is that
if you
a grain
that
addition?
Weizenbach, it'll
come back up.
Yeah.
Well, nothing against the rest. I was just wondering if there's a certain grain addition that you do to assist that in this beer. Not really.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think not brewing it. helps.
That Melina did it is probably,
It's her magic touch.
To be fair, Melina brews most of the brewers.
Okay,
Unless I'm on vacation.
These days,
now my joke sucks.
These days, I'm designing the recipes for the most part, and she's taking care of it. I mean, that's why she's our star.
Yeah, Melina's running that.
That's why I look forward, and
Yeah,
she's getting much more into helping with the recipes as well, and I look forward to working with her more on really seeing what she can come up with. For
I can tell she looks forward to that too, Ben. Really looks forward to working with you more.
That's right.
I get paid to play with Ben.
She's going to take over eventually. I'm out
you
the door.
will duel today.
That's the mark of a good manager is when you can move somebody to take over your job.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
All right. Well, I want to thank you guys for being here so much. The beer is fantastic. Let's do a couple plugs, though, to make sure people know what's happening. Your anniversary party is February 9th, right?
It is. It's February 9th. We're doing 2 years afloat, so that's kind of fun. We also have our first ever barrel release coming up.
Oh, nice.
Yes, this is super exciting for us. We've never bottled a project before, and this is our first bottled project. So it was our Dark Star. It's an Imperial stout.
So I'll talk about this for a second.
Is it the same recipe you brewed when you were 17 at Bonnie's parents' house? Because that was an Imperial stout.
It's 100%.
Same thing.
Extract, everything.
Love it.
I wrote detailed notes in my diary, and I was like,
this recipe.
Scott, you explain.
So this is actually...
he couldn't even boil water, but I love him anyway.
I got in the habit a long time ago about adding rye to my stouts, and a buddy of mine, Chris Eamon Kroger, took that and tried to make the perfect stout. Yeah, and then he came back and brought that recipe back, and we scaled it up at the brewery, and that's how we made the original recipe for this.
Okay, and that's what went into the barrel.
And that's what went in the barrel.
Okay.
So it's a collaboration with Ledger's Liquor.
So the barrel, Ben comes back to me one day and it's like, dude, I got a barrel from Ed.
Okay.
So Ed at Ledger's Liquors does various barrel
Ledger's
projects.
Liquors, Berkeley, California.
Yeah,
best
I know the
whiskey
place.
selection on the planet.
Yes, awesome booze. And he does all these little single barrel things with his name stamped on it and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So he had a wet barrel sitting there, recently emptied, and was like, "Yeah, take it, guys."
Nice. Okay.
Just give me some cases when you're done.
How long's it been in the barrel?
So that was 9 months.
It was 9 months in the barrel.
Wow.
It was 9 months till it tasted right.
Okay.
We didn't have any defined date. It was literally 6 months. It was like, that's pretty good. 7 months, that's pretty good.
Well,
8 months.
we had some people come in and saying, you said you were releasing it around Christmas, and we were like, it's not ready yet. We just can't. So.
At 9 months, it was amazing.
Okay.
It lost, we pulled a sample, and it lost all its color. It became clear.
Really?
It was this weird...
What?
Yeah. It was like this brown clear thing.
I'm not buying this.
Yeah, I don't understand.
It was
turned into water. I don't know. It was amazing.
And we brought it back and we tasted it, and it was just amazing. We were like, okay, it's time to transfer it. And I spent a good day transferring that out and transferring another beer in, and then we pull it and put it in the kegs, and it comes out and it's dark again.
Okay, wow. That's the weirdest thing.
It was magic.
Yeah. You sure the lighting wasn't just off that day? And
well, they were blindfolded. But,
he was drunk.
We also took a lot of acid, so
yeah, that'll do it. The beer's clear.
Yeah. We're big on microdosing every day.
Despite all that, it was mind blowing.
But we promise, in the bottles, it's going to be delicious.
Yeah. Is it? It's in bottles now.
It doesn't matter.
It's going into bottles.
It's going into bottles this week.
Cool. We have none here, is what you're saying.
No.
None here. But
February
if you want
8th.
it, February
8th, and there's a very limited release.
We got about 30
this.
cases max, and 10 of them are already gone. So we're going to release 15 cases here.
So come to the brewery on February 8th.
No, get our app. Get the Ocean View Brews app.
You have an app.
We have an app.
That's the first app from a brewery I think I've heard of.
So I built an app.
Let me just recap here for a second.
Okay.
Their brewery is the size of a fucking garage.
Yes.
They don't distribute at all.
No.
They argue all the time.
Yeah.
Yes.
But they have a fucking app.
Thank you, Chris Armin Kruger.
Honestly, it's very reminiscent of the Brewing Network.
Everything's backwards.
Yeah. It's a lot like us, but they make money.
No claims to that yet.
Well,
we're working on that.
Although we have been profitable for 2 years because we self-funded and did a crowdfunding campaign.
Okay, so they're not like the Brewing Network.
Yeah.
Sorry.
They're smart.
So we have an app.
Which is just search what?
Better Ocean View Brews.
Okay.
It's available on both platforms. It's better than our website.
Okay.
We keep it more updated, and you get special deals through that. So we're really pushing this app. It's got beer rewards for our users. You get a dozen pints. You get the Brewer's Dozen. You get your 13th free. Growler fills.
Wow.
We release special offerings through there. So our app holders, and anyone can get it today, they can pre-purchase one bottle.
Okay.
And that guarantees you a spot in line for up to 3 more bottles while supplies last.
Got it. And you said there's only like 15 cases or something.
Very small.
Yeah,
if that. Okay, so get the app today, Ocean View Brew. Get that, and then you can pre-purchase.
You can. And that tells you more information about all of us, and it's a great way to know
Or you
what
can
we're
just
doing.
come by and drink beer every day and ask us about it until it happens.
Until you get hired.
We won't get annoyed, we promise.
And then the anniversary party's on February 9th.
And we've got other fun Beer Week events and lots of stuff we do, but we really just love seeing the people around.
One thing I want to talk about is our collaboration release
yes.
with Justin Green.
Oh, yeah.
He, Justin Green.
What's it? Steel and Hops.
Steel and
Is that the new brewery?
Yes.
I think he's coming to our Spring Brews Festival. Do you guys want to come pour at our Spring Brews Festival?
We are.
You already got the thing?
Security.
Okay,
Over
good.
here.
They're already
doing
coming.
last year.
Well, good idea,
But we want
Justin.
to pull so we want to pull our Vanagon in and pour out
wait
of the
one
back.
second. I forgot about this.
Yeah, we know.
One of you owns a double cab Synchro. Is it a Synchro?
Yeah.
So
It's a Synchro.
We own
we have
I think we own
a
8
very
synchros.
sick family here.
Dude.
I love this. I saw those photos you sent, and I was like,
Yes.
that's a
Those
Synchro.
were for you.
Yeah. So
is that yours?
Yes. In our family, we have. My dad got into it, got a Synchro. My brother got into it, got a Synchro. I got into it, got a Synchro.
Wow.
And then I got a couple more vans, and then
Like Vanagons? They're all Vanagons?
all Vanagons.
Yeah.
86 through 91 Synchro.
Really?
And we imported a.
You
Joka,
realize that you can
and-
fund the brewery expansion with your Synchros.
But we
And
could
I
never
don't know
go
why your
camping.
brewery is not called Synchro.
That would have been nice. They're so nice. They're so badass. Those
Oh, my
Synchros.
gosh.
Oh, we love them.
You got them a long time ago.
Not. I mean,
So it's all started about 10 years ago.
Okay.
We have a very mechanic-heavy family, so we...
we went camping once with his parents, and we got to this fishing spot at like 5 p.m., and the hatch was coming off the river. We were in our Jetta, and his parents were in their Audi, and we all looked down at it and said, oh, that's the place to be. And his mom and I said, if only we could be cooking dinner while you guys were fishing. This would be perfect. The next day, his dad was like, I found the vehicle.
Nice.
We can do this.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
so
my gosh.
he bought a Synchro with a Country Home
Country
top.
Home pop top on it. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And so he got that one, and there's been many conversions since. And then his brother went and worked for Go Westy, and we collaborated
Wow.
with them and
Yeah.
did brews for them. And so we love that community, and it's that same.
I'm so glad I forgot about this till the end because we wouldn't have talked about your beer at all.
We didn't need
We
to.
just sit here talking about bands the whole time.
I'm
Yeah.
glad too.
So I went. They're especially the Synchros.
yeah.
So for those of you, these are
here we go.
They're I have a bus. Theirs is the Vanagon style. I have the last year of the bus until they turn it to the Vanagon style
With a really cool trailer.
and with a matching trailer. I haven't. I got to clean that up a little bit.
Yeah, it's not
but
that cool.
That's
I'm now
the big green one, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I went to I drove my bus to my mechanic today. I got to change the front wheel bearings. So I had to pick up some bearings. And I bought it from that place. I restored it myself, but I bought it from this guy who was a piece of shit. And he's upset that he sold it to me now. Because he's like, it was like 10 years ago. And he said today, he's like, what'd I sell that thing? Like $10,000? And I was like, no, man, I fucking hosed you. I got that for $5,500 from you. And you should have seen his face because it's easily worth like $25 now that it's painted and done, and they're crazy. And the Synchros even more so. They're so valuable.
Oh, they're insane. I mean,
because they were a great vehicle.
They were, and they shouldn't have stopped making them.
And you have the double cab pickup Synchro. It's so fucking cool.
They're really awesome.
I almost can't handle the jealousy. You have
I
no
know.
idea.
I want it to be my
No
daily
idea.
driver. I was like, it doesn't have enough frozen seats for all the kids,
Right.
friends.
Yeah.
But to drive that thing.
So
is
my dream is to turn one of those things into a mobile refrigerated tap house.
Hell yeah. You should. Or at least a trailer to pull it, but yes.
So are we going to still end on a beer note?
No, it's too late for that. It's too late.
Train here.
No, we will.
So, Bevo, for Spring Brews Fest, can we have a spot so we can put a car behind and we're going to pull the taps right off of it?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, we don't have to do that. It's okay.
No, I'll bring the bus. We'll park them together.
We can have a show at the same time.
Just have to figure out the fencing situation, but whatever.
We'll park the bus and we're going to do this.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I'm in.
So I was going to drive my bus today, and when I saw the photo, I was like, I got to drive the bus so that we can go outside and just geek out. But I got to change the bearings.
Well, and we didn't drive. We all took an Uber together, and it was a ridiculous shit show.
Smart. I'll drive it out to the brewery.
Yes, please do.
Yes.
Is it somebody's daily driver, or it's more like just on the side?
There's a rotation
Okay.
that goes on. So
there are multiple vehicles that are their daily drivers, and
Ben
once in a
used to make
while
fun of
I
me.
get a.
When
And once
we-
in a while I get a. I used to show up at Oak Barrel like about 6 months ago. We were doing all sorts of errands and everything, and every time I showed up at Oak Barrel to grab something else, it would be in a different vehicle.
Oh yeah,
and it was so much fun.
I would always show up with something different.
Well, so our own Synchro is under renovation. We have a Subaru 2.5 in it now.
Nice. I know.
And Scott's finishing welding on the pop top with a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old. We've put this on delay for a little bit.
Yeah.
So our own personal one for camping is under construction for a couple of years.
Okay.
But we have the family ones. We've sold a few as time has gone on ourselves. So we rotate them all around. And his dad owns that red one, but it's the Ocean View sort of
Got it.
banner vehicle, and you saw us in the parade with it.
They just break
Then
down
I'm
for
gonna-
in-and-out parties.
I'm going to give you a heads up when I'm coming because you have to drive it that day. I want to see it.
will be
So I'm- all right. All right.
Sounds good.
Okay, Ben, the beer was wonderful.
Thank you.
How about that? Yeah. No, thank you guys for.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it. Get the app today in the app store of your choice. Just go search Ocean View Brews. You can check out oceanviewbrews.com. Go see them during SF Beer Week for celebrate their 2 years of being in business. That's actually a triumph, to be honest with you. I don't think people think about that in this industry, but congratulations. It's a tough thing to do.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. You guys can hang out if you want. I have some beer news for us, JP.
Whoa, I love beer news,
A couple of interesting stories that I think you're going to like.
Okay, I hope so.
Hang in there. It's the session, and we'll be right back.
Thank you.
We haven't had this much fun since Doc fell off a stripper pole.
The Brewing Network.
All right, welcome back to the show, and thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. Thank you to our guests as well, Ocean View Brew Works, who have opted to stay with us for our last segment, which I always enjoy, so thanks for that. Before we move on, I want to remind you that now that it's 2020, it's a new year, and we want to make a slightly better you, and Duke Cannon can help. You know, most resolutions don't last, mostly because dramatic self-improvement is hard. Although I've been doing all right.
You've been doing all right.
It's only been 2 weeks.
Well, right. And it's not self-improvement if you're going to go back to doing whatever.
It's delayed something.
Yes.
Delayed harm.
Sure.
That's why Duke Cannon Supply Company wants you to consider lowering your expectations this year and get the moderate self-improvement box. It's a one-step program to achieving a slightly better version of yourself. And it's packed with over $80 of premium American-made grooming goods designed to help you feel, look, and smell just a little better.
Is that what you got in front of you? You're opening a box.
They sent me a box.
Oh.
You want to see what's in it?
I would love to, actually. There's a certificate.
The dry ice body powder. It's got menthol to cool and activated charcoal to deodorize.
Oh.
Certificate of
check that out.
Let me sniff on that.
Yeah, if I use all of it, I get a certificate of completion.
That's so nice.
Terrence
Put it
never
right
had
up
one
on
of
the
those.
wall. On the refrigerator, really.
It comes with a working man's face wash, which has vitamin C
Is this a hint?
to fight fatigue and scurvy.
Oh.
Check that one out.
Well, I love fatigue.
Oh, Jip, this is the the solid cologne I've been telling you about.
Yeah.
You can have that, but you can't wear it on the same days as me.
It's like a tin of Altoids. I can't wear it on the same days as you?
No, because then we're going to smell the same.
But we smell the same anyway. We stink.
Yeah, you're right. It's nice, though, isn't it?
That smells good.
That's
like a wax?
Like the Buffalo Trace. Yeah, you just kind of like put it on your finger a little bit, then you wipe it on.
And then you wipe it just like this?
Yeah,
like
there you go.
Like a beard balm or like a...
Yeah, you could beard balm this for sure.
Oh, that's smelly stuff. I can
All right,
smell
well,
it
here,
already.
you can smell it, but give it back to me because I want it. It's the only thing I get free out of this dumb job.
And then also, since it's the moderate self-improvement box, it comes with the big-ass brick of soap Junior, which is like a normal size bar of soap.
All right.
So it's just ass. It's not big ass.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a half ration. I like that. They got a nice branding thing going on.
JP, they sent this for you. It's called the News Anchor Hair Wash.
Oh, that smells
and
good,
it
dude.
gives you News Anchor thick hair.
Those motherfuckers. News Anchor thick hair.
Yes.
Does it grow it back?
I want you to come back next week after using
like
that for a
naval
week.
supremacy.
Okay.
And... yeah.
Big ass bricks of soap.
Then there's the Trench Warfare Antiperspirant Deodorant.
Oh, this is good stuff.
Smell this. Oh, that's pretty nice.
That smells good.
I like that. Yeah. And then finally, all of this comes in the moderate self-improvement box.
Wow, really?
Very manly.
There you go.
Oh, this is that hand repair balm that we were talking about.
Oh, I need that.
Oh, it has like a... Let me take the seal off. Oh, wow, that's like a whole thing. Look at this.
It's manly.
I'm going to try it. It's like a lotion.
Hand repair balm.
Yeah.
Right. Don't get any ideas now. This is called the Bloody Knuckles Hand Repair.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It smells like naval supremacy, doesn't it?
Smells like naval supremacy.
See? Here, that's the lid. Somebody might need that eventually.
Studio in a minute.
Wait,
all right, you can get all of this. It's the moderate self-improvement box. It's $80 worth of stuff, but guess what? It's $50 for a limited time. And not just that. When you use coupon code BREWING, when you go to DukeCanada.com and use coupon code BREWING, you get another 15% off your order.
Did you guys smell the cologne?
That's a super good price.
It's a killer
for all
price.
of that.
It's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it is.
For sure.
It's a lot of stuff. So that's our Duke Cannon segment for today. Go check it out. You won't be disappointed, I promise you.
Oh, no, absolutely. That's not even my stuff, and I'm not disappointed.
Yeah.
So can you imagine if you owned it?
Everybody in the studio is using it. I love this right now. Super
We
cool.
smell really good.
Yeah. Which is not common for this studio.
Yeah, I want to try that hand balm.
Yeah. All right.
Wait, this has Buffalo Trace in it, which is the same as our barrel.
Oh, there you go.
See, there you
And
go.
it says oak barrel is the scent, so this seems very appropriate for
They're
this
about to
podcast.
commandeer your cologne, Jesse.
I'll fight for it. I swear to God.
All right.
I'm going to use this.
Let me get us to some beer news because I found a couple of interesting stories in the beer news world this week. First of all, JP, check this out.
Check me out.
Over in Boston,
I love Boston.
they're going to have their first ever, and this is the first of its kind as far as I know, Blind Beer Fest.
Blind Beer Fest.
Blind tasting. And that probably is what they should name
We have that too on Wednesday of Beer Week.
You have a blind taste test?
Yes, we do.
So check this out. This place did the same thing. A local place like yours did these small tastings like this. They're doing an entire beer festival with 30 different breweries, and all of it is done blind. There's no marketing whatsoever for any of the breweries.
All right, who wants to come? Breweries,
So-
sign on up. Let's go.
That's kind of a cool idea because I'm glad you clarified because I'm like, what are they going to? There's going to be so many spilt beers with the sticks waving around.
Yeah, no.
It's
It's
insane.
blind tasting. It's happening, I want to say March 6th. I was reading it early. Oh, somewhere in Boston. You can look it up. I'm
Yeah.
not promoting the thing. I just found it interesting. And anyway, yeah, this local tap room was doing, small blind tastings with their friends and regulars. And this couple of guys thought we should do a whole beer festival like that, which I thought was pretty unique to get that many breweries. Not one of them is going to get promotion until afterward, right? Then they'll probably say, oh, here's the breweries that were
So they
there.
don't even know what the breweries are.
Well, the organizers do, but
Yeah.
I don't think the festival goers do.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
So that
do
means
they
the
know
breweries-
anything about the beer? It's just going to be totally blind?
Or the breweries aren't
totally blind.
Or the breweries can't be pouring their own beer then.
This I don't. I guess you're probably right. They didn't
Right.
go into too many details.
Well,
but one of the founders says,
I'm disappointed.
he's like, "Look, I think I know what an IPA tastes like, but can I differentiate between a dry hopped wheat beer and a New England IPA?" He says, so from an education standpoint, I think it's important for us to allow people to really understand what a beer style is and to refine their palates a little better.
That's looking in the mirror time right there. That's going to just destroy you to your core.
Which is why I kind of like it. I think a bunch of people will be like, oh, God damn it, I do like clear IPAs.
Somehow it's very Boston. I don't know why. It's very aggressive. We're going to break you down Southeast style.
So do a Google search for Blind Beer Fest. It's happening in Boston, and I think it's happening during Boston Beer Week, which I believe is in March.
All right.
So I thought that was a cool idea. Okay, here's one for you, JP.
Okay.
So apparently Vietnam, the country, has just started to instill some tough new drunk driving laws.
Okay.
So apparently drinking culture in Vietnam is pretty loosey-goosey.
Yeah.
And
Can you say that?
Last year there were several high-profile drunk driving accidents and deaths.
Okay.
So beginning in January, Vietnam instilled what they're calling tough drunk driving laws, which I'll get to what some of them are, and you can decide if they're tough or not.
All right.
But what's happened since January 1st, when the laws went into effect, beer sales are down 25% in the entire country.
Wow.
Because of these new quote-unquote strict beer laws. Now, let me define to you what this crackdown means for them. Under the new law, motorbike drivers can face fines as high as 8 million dong.
Whoa.
Which is a lot of dongs.
That's a lot of dongs,
If anyone's up for that many songs, pay me here.
Suddenly, I'm going to go drinking, driving in Vietnam.
That's like a whole bag of dongs.
Dong.
Okay,
Sounds amazing.
8 million dong actually is like $345. All right.
Yeah, that's pretty high.
Now, in a country like Vietnam, $345 is a lot of money, I guess. For a drunk driving fine, it's just a fine, by the way. There's no mention so far of jail time.
Right.
There is a mention that if you're caught driving a commercial vehicle, a commercial truck, then the fine will be 40 million dong and a license suspension.
Oh.
Okay, so point being, none of this is all that fucking strict. And beer sales in the country are down 25% because people are like, well, shit, I can't drive home anymore?
Well, does it say in that article what is drunk driving in Vietnam? Like, what is their, how it's 0.8 or whatever here?
Is buzz driving drunk driving?
It is.
Okay.
So
in Vietnam?
They didn't give the exact percentage, but the Vietnam Beer Alcohol Beverage Association, which is a little bit against this, they say, we support tougher laws to encourage responsible drinking, yet the new fines are too steep. Because automobile drivers, for instance, could be hit with the 8 million dong penalty for just having a trace of alcohol. But there's no definition that I can find of what a trace means. That might still be 08, right? Like
the only
just
trace
drunk driving.
I like is buffalo trace, okay?
Yes.
On my neck and my hot points.
So the Beer Alcohol Beverage Association is against this because they think the punishments are too strict. Is a $345 fine for driving drunk too strict?
Isn't it like $12,000 here?
And
a misdemeanor?
And potential jail. I mean, you could get the book thrown at you on your first offense.
You know, maybe people make $200 a month, so it's it's all relative.
So I have always had a theory about drunk driving punishments. There's no such thing as too strict. You shouldn't do it.
Right.
I actually immediately take offense to the question about whether or not laws are too strict. To ask the question implies that it's okay to drive drunk if you can sort of afford or deal with the penalty. And that's not okay. I think the implication just by asking... Now, by the way, I've questioned myself about this because, let's say this. Should the punishment in the U.S. for drunk driving, your first offense, be life in prison?
Well, no, that'd be stupid.
Well, it would go with what I'm arguing right now,
Well,
that there's no such thing as too strict.
Well, life in prison is too strict.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What if it's like your 4th DUI and you kill a family?
Yeah.
You're a fuck up.
Yeah.
Well, I think then you're charged with manslaughter and you get a lot of years in prison.
You could be, or you're not. It's not automatic.
So it's interesting that we're having this conversation because tonight, Joe Biden, everyone's creepy grandpa.
Yeah. Did he get a DUI?
No. He here's his quote, and I have the sound clip up. I can play it for you. He says, you only arrest for the purpose... He's talking about, like, getting rid of ICE and all this kind of stuff. And he says, you change the culture by saying you're going to get fired. You are fired, in fact, if you do that, whatever he's talking about. You only arrest for the purpose of dealing with a felony that's committed. And I don't count drunk driving as a felony.
Interesting.
So Grandpa Joe Biden wants to... in theory, according to this,
that's a ballsy statement.
Not count drunk driving as a felony, even though, as you said, your first offense is a misdemeanor.
Well,
but
it isn't a felony, is it? I mean,
it depends.
I mean, what was the outcome of your drunk driving?
Exactly. If you're just pulled over, if you're just over the limit, generally your first one is a misdemeanor. By the way, states get to decide this, so it would vary by state. But here in California, it would generally be a misdemeanor. Although I think there's also a limit. If you're above a certain percentage, even on your first one, it could be a felony. Of course, if you crash into somebody, it could be a felony. There's a number. It's open to interpretation, and in fact, you can get a DUI for being under the legal limit if the officer who's arresting you decides that you're impaired.
Sure, you're still under the influence.
There's a lot of interpretation to the here in California.
Yeah, practicing your alphabet backwards.
Yeah.
You'll pass all the drunk tests.
All the things. Yeah,
and there you go.
How about just take a Lyft or an Uber?
Right.
Thank you.
Well, especially these days.
It's so easy.
Yeah. I mean, when I was in my early teens, it was harder to drink and drive. But now, wait, what?
Opposite.
Yeah.
Well, BART's worse, but Lyft is better. So I don't know.
We came out here tonight and we're like looking at BART versus Lyft, and it's like $50 to get all of us out here.
Yeah.
In a Lyft XL,
and you won't get syphilis.
And we don't have to ride BART.
Yeah.
So fine.
It's worth noting, and I thought a lot about this right when Uber came out, so I really praised them. They decreased. I want to see the stats about the decreased arrest in drunk driving, because it used to not be as readily available before Uber. You'd have to call a cab.
Yeah.
And that cab from Albany was $150, right? So Uber changed the playing field. And so more people were drunk driving because there was less access to safety, which is probably something that's happening in Vietnam with the beer sales dropping 25%. I don't know that they either have or can afford Uber, so they're just not going out and drinking beer at the bar. I don't know what's happening, but it has a major effect, right? Okay. And we're lucky that Uber and Lyft is around, because it wasn't always this way.
In one study, it was found that 4 boroughs of New York City, excluding Staten Island because they're crazy, have experienced a 25 to 35% decrease in alcohol-related car accidents since the inception of Uber.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly believe that, and thought about it just instantly. It changed even my behaviors. I did get a DUI years and years ago, and I never drove drunk after that. I started going out and drinking more when Uber came out because I could get home. But I would just stay home. After I never did it again after I got in trouble that one time, and I saw the error of my ways.
There you go. The error.
Yeah. Anyway, I just thought that number was pretty staggering. To a whole country's beer sales to drop 25%.
It's a very horny stat.
I wish I knew the blood alcohol percent that they were worried about.
I think it's 1 million. I think that the drinking culture over there is definitely way different than here.
They're like, no way.
Well, the article, it's in Bloomberg if anyone wants to look it up. And the article does point out that there are actually all sorts of societal problems happening in Vietnam due to alcohol, due to the high rates of alcoholism and heavy consumption. There's a pretty super duper drinking culture there.
Super duper.
It's super duper.
Maybe this is a good news story, really.
Right.
It's a very good way to accent a tragic situation, is putting the word duper after super.
Yes. Vietnam, which is the third biggest swiller of beer in Asia, their total volume, they saw per capita household consumption rise 30% between 2013 and 2018 to 43 liters, or 11 gallons.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Up 30% and then now down 25%, so they still have a 5% increase in beer consumption.
Yeah. but not now. That was to 2018. The U.S., by contrast, for the same period, 2013 to 2018, we had a 4% drop in beer in per capita consumption. So, anyway, speaking of whether or not things are okay in the beer world, El Chapo's daughter is releasing a new line of El Chapo beer.
Bro, I saw this and I'm like,
see this?
What the fuck, man?
Yeah.
And it was like, if it passes the Mexican government approval, I'm like, of course it's going to pass. Are you kidding me?
El Chapo's daughter is getting ready to launch a new line of beer inspired by her pint-sized father, says the New York Post. And the new brew, which is awaiting approval from the Mexican government to go to market, is part of the El Chapo 701 brand, which is all run by El Chapo's daughter.
Gucci Mane?
The company already has a clothing line.
Of course it does. What idiot buys El Chapo branded clothing? I mean,
it must be doing something. The company name El Chapo 701 is a reference to El Chapo's position on the Forbes 2009 richest people list, back when he had a reputed net worth of about $1 billion.
Idiot.
He's now, of course, serving a life sentence at a Supermax prison in Colorado. A 12-ounce bottle of the namesake beer, dubbed El Chapo Mexican Lager.
I don't know why that's the funniest part of that story so far.
It's expected to fetch a little over 70 pesos, which is about $3.75.
How many dongs is it?
I don't know. Not 8 million.
No.
The daughter debuted the beer at a ritzy trade show in Guadalajara last week. So it's already been out. And
I want to know who's brewing it.
Yeah, good question. It doesn't say here. I don't know. Do you think it's all right to market a drug kingpin's name?
No, man.
It's not cool,
that guy
right?
Killed hundreds of thousands of people and destroyed lives of millions more.
Yeah, but if anyone's going to do it, his daughter. I mean,
should.
True.
Yeah.
Well, it is
like, I'll make a buck on this douchebag.
And I don't know that they're cool with each other either. I don't think they are.
I thought that they were.
I don't think so.
I do think it's funny that she's basically selling legal drugs.
Yeah.
With the name of a drug dealer.
El Chapo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
whatever. Get paid. Who cares?
I think it's a dick move.
It's stupid.
I
think if whoever buys it is dumb.
Yeah, we don't. We don't have Jeffrey
Charles
Dahmer
Mason.
Dunkel.
Jeffrey Dahmer.
Wait, that was our next beer name.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry, Bonnie. Shit.
Jeffrey Dahmer beef
Dunkel.
jerky. That'd be so good.
That's disgusting.
Okay, that's a good idea. Actually, now I take it back. That's a great idea.
And the Dahmer Dunkel has bad connotations. I think we just no go zone.
Dahmer, give me a Dahmer dunk, please.
Yeah, Manson Martin. You can't do it, right?
The only way the Dahmer would work is if you
series.
Yeah.
If you served Rocky Mountain oysters along with it.
Yeah.
Because didn't he eat testicles too? Wasn't that part of it?
I think all kinds of things. I don't know. He just ate. He just was a cannibal.
See if you can get a cult following.
Yeah. All right. You want to do our Twitter game wrap up?
Sure, bro.
All right. I believe our Twitter game was when we donate to build a new wing of our local hospital.
Yeah.
What ailments will we specialize in treating?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's exactly right, Justin. Good job. You paid attention, man.
What did we end up with?
Liver functioning.
I thought of that. Yeah.
It's just one dialysis machine. You plug in like a Tesla charging station.
Yeah, there's a really long line at our one dialysis station.
It's a daily fix. We just compensate for this every night.
Yeah.
So there's a couple things. Well, there's a few ways to go about this, but one guy replied to somebody else, and I thought that the reply was pretty funny. So this is a twofer. Okay. So Zachary Armstrong says, in Chechnya, we don't go to hospital. We just chop limb off with shot of vodka and duct tape it closed. Then Joshua Lashovsky says, who are you kidding? We don't have duct tape in Chechnya. We have just Band-Aid we got from Uncle.
Gross. Okay.
I thought that was really funny.
Yeah, I like it. Okay.
Yeah. And then Joshua has another response. He said, you can call it the sour wing and just stick Moscow and his soundboard in it. Well, it's less of a treatment wing, more of a sacrificial chamber.
Got it.
So, of course, I had to include that. Brew Jabs says, call it the Pacheco wing, where they treat mild racisms toward Maroon 5. Which is my T-shirt. Cheese addiction, blindness, and he says too soon. I don't really remember a blindness joke, but whatever.
Beardy.
Beardy.
Oh, there you go.
He's dead, though.
Well, we treated that. He's gone.
Yeah.
So it's fine.
Fix that shit.
Broken heel bones, diabetes from all those cookies, tiger maulings from dating apps, and vitamin B and cigarette overuse.
That was all one thing?
That was all one thing, yeah.
That's too many things.
But it references all of us.
Yeah.
Well, not me because I'm perfect, but all of you.
All right.
Very inclusive. Although the cheese addiction. I think you admitted
Ashley, you're right. That probably is shit. The struggle is real.
Brian King says the Rat Pad specializes in podiatry, depression, and man buns.
Okay.
I think I know who they're talking about there.
I don't know who they're talking about.
Not me. Barley Boy says, Dr. Homebrew's Hop Back Clinic. Want to be cured of your hazy addiction? Want to finally be able to drink an NEIPA? We can help cure both ailments. Need a real doctor? Go to a real hospital.
I like that one.
Yeah. Rob Long, if you know what I mean, says, the Bleeder's Wing, dedicated to ball sack repairs. Everyone gets a free Manscaped Lawnmower 2.0 when it's time to go home.
Yeah. Okay.
Scotty B says a mental hospital that specializes in bouts of haze craze.
Okay.
And then finally, Austin says the Waka Waka Ward, treating anyone from boner chicken losers to death pool winners and all bear behinds in between.
Okay.
Aww.
All right. I'm going to narrow this down quickly.
Please do, baby.
It's between Dr. Homebrew, New England IPA addict treatment.
Yep.
And the everything that's wrong with us in this room. One that listed everything.
Brew Jabs.
Yeah.
The Pacheco Wing, it would be called. Even though...
JP, you get to decide today.
I don't want to decide.
Bevo, you get to decide
Thank
today.
you.
The Pacheco Wing.
The Pacheco Wing.
There you go, Brew Jabs. Good job, dude.
There we go. Wait, that's different than the everything wrong. Is that the same one? That was the same one. Yeah, the Pacheco Wing.
Yeah.
Okay, it was just a really long one. I wrote it.
It was a really long one, yeah.
All right, we are going to send you some Ocean View Brewworks swag.
There we go.
That's the winner of our Twitter game today. All right. JP?
Yes?
I brought you a gift bag today.
Oh, can I open it finally?
Open it.
All right.
I want you to check it out.
Let me make sure
I've been promising you this, and I finally came through. It's very important stuff.
Oh, my goodness.
Especially if you end up in the hospital wing that treats ball problems.
Oh, I got my lawnmower. Hell yeah.
You got your Manscaped lawnmower.
That's right. Thank you very much.
Now, that one...
This is a 3.0.
Yeah, mine is the 2.0.
Man, well, I'm better than you.
You have stepped up from that. You have the Manscaped 3.0, which I'm not even really supposed to mention until next month. But they sent it, and I couldn't resist. Don't... You hear that? Yeah. Well, look at the light on it. It has like a... I don't think mine has a magic light like that.
Lights.
You need that.
Well, you're blind
in case you
like
have
in
to
Boston.
shave in the dark.
Yeah.
I mean, things just get dark down there anyway. You gotta...
True.
I want you to report back.
I will.
About the difference in what have you been shaving down there with? Grooming.
Clippers, man. Hair clippers.
Hair clippers.
Yeah. I got a separate hair clipper and a separate hair clipper.
You can use that in the shower also, so like less mess on the bathroom floor.
I'm all about that.
Or the kitchen or wherever you do it.
My maid hates cleaning up my ball hair. So
yeah. All right.
What else do you got?
I brought you a little bit of everything from Manscaped.
A little ball deodorant. Man, we're going to smell so good. Finally.
I know.
We get sponsors that understand that we stink.
So what are the names of these things? What's the first thing you pulled out there?
Crop Preserver Anti-Chafing Ball Deodorant.
Yeah. That stuff's good. I've used it.
Okay. Foot duster.
Yeah.
Foot deodorant.
Yeah, they're all about the little sweaty crevices that we have, you know.
Anytime your feet feel funky.
Yeah, that's
good. You got to love alliteration.
Yeah.
Crop cleanser. I don't know why I couldn't say the word crop. Hair and body wash.
Yeah, that's like a full wash. I haven't tried that yet, so I'd like you to get back to me on that one too.
Smells good.
Yeah, Manscaped has the full line.
Well, I'm gonna I regret doing that.
I like that all our sponsors are about cleaning ourselves up lately.
I know. It's like someone
Bruce is so dirty.
Contacted them and was like, "Hey, these guys,
I think so.
Children, crop mop ball wipes."
Now, those are the ones I've been telling you about.
Should I try these right now?
Yeah, why not? So those are individually wrapped.
Everyone threw up in the studio.
We have new beer names coming out.
Yeah.
A second here.
So those come in like that big package right there.
Yeah.
But inside they're all individually wrapped. So like if you're just having a bad day,
sounds like big
or
package.
you're in a rush,
So
you
you
can
had a
just
bad-
do a quick mop up with the crop mop.
You need to mop your balls. Oh yeah,
Check
look at
that out.
Look like little like individual lotions.
Yeah, open one up and see what it smells like. I find the smell pleasant,
I asked
especially
you if you wanted
compared
me
to
to
your
do it, and you
normal
said
ball
no.
smell.
Well, every once in a
yours,
while,
per se,
I like
but-
to throw you a curveball.
Yeah, smell that. What do you think?
Oh yeah,
Teresa, give it a whiff. What do you think?
You're now going to know what Justin and JP's balls smell like.
Oh,
in the future.
It's way better than you imagined, isn't it?
Some kind of really awkward knowledge.
It's nice though, right? It's like
it's like
I wouldn't be offended if somebody's balls smelled like that. Honestly,
see, and that's I feel like if you're in a rush, you got to get out of the house real quick. Take a quick mop.
Yep, you're good to go.
I don't want it.
You're good to go.
I don't want it.
Yeah. All right, you can get all of this over at manscaped.com, and if you use our coupon code BREWING, you're going to get 20% off plus free shipping. What else is in your bag there,
I got the Plow
in your
2.0, which you gave me already,
but I won't
not
use
the 1.0.
that, so I thought you could use another one.
Oh yeah, no, I appreciate that.
That's a regular shaver
I know
for your
it's,
face.
it's all about like you're growing this crop all
Yeah.
the time.
I am
keep the crops in their lives.
I am a
The
farmer. Well,
rows.
as previous farmers, you guys know you have to tend to your crops, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Fertilizer.
Scott knows.
Clean up on the edges.
Is there fertilizer?
Can you imagine
I really
the-
need to make a fertilizer.
Can you imagine the farmer's market?
I don't
that
need
would
a
be
fertilizer.
Balls.
Actually, yeah, that might be counterproductive.
These-
Cologne.
These things need to not grow.
The cologne smells good. It kind of smells like the crop mop.
Yeah, I feel like they have a
Yeah, you guys wanna
motif.
give that a whiff?
They kind of keep it. Don't spray it though.
No, don't spray it, no.
It
You
gets
can smell
pretty
it right
strong. Yeah. But that one's
very,
nice.
It's refined.
So that's the
FYI.
sack I brought you from Manscaped, JP.
From your sack
Yeah.
to my sack.
Go to manscaped.com, use coupon code BREWING right now. You're going to get 20% off plus free shipping. And it's all really good stuff. I use it all daily now.
I love it. Thank you, Justin.
Yeah.
Just what I wanted. More attention for my wiener.
Yeah.
Manliness.
Really, Taryn will be the one who thanks me. I think.
You're going to wipe that all
Yeah.
over?
Yeah.
Scott's really getting
I don't know. I'm kind of into it.
See?
These are Vanagon camping essentials. Right?
They're
When you're out
perfect.
in the bush and you're camping, like
Yeah.
I can
We're not gonna
definitely
lie.
see you using that.
Yeah.
It'll freshen you right up.
Yep, exactly. All right. Thank you to Manscaped. Thank you to our guest tonight, Ocean View Brew Works. We appreciate you guys hanging out and having beers with us and bringing us beer. I will be coming to the brewery soon, so we can share bus stories. All right. Also, go to iTunes or the Google Play Store and search Ocean View Brews, and you can download their app so that you can get access to their very limited first edition barrel beer, which will be available on February 8th, and then their second-year anniversary party on February 9th. So go check that all out. Next week on the show, my last show for a while, I think.
Yeah.
I'm hitting the road.
That's right.
But we've got Del Cielo Brewing Company from my
That's not next week.
from my Martinez. That's what's on the
That's-
calendar.
no, you're in the wrong month.
Crucible.
That's
Crucible
giving you a
is
wag
next
of the
week.
finger. That's not good.
When's Del Cielo? Next month? Oh, they're the last of
Last
February.
in February.
Got it.
Yeah.
Sorry. Crucible Brewing.
More beer for me.
Where are they from?
I think Virginia, but they're in studio.
Really?
Oh, geez.
And I could be making that up. I'm not exactly sure, but I know they're flying in to
She
be in the
only
studio.
produces the show.
They opened up
Excuse
next
me,
door
I ne-
4 years ago.
Yeah.
I think they're from Jupiter. I can't. One of the planets. I don't know. I'll get back.
SpaceX flew them in.
Hate you.
You drive a Tesla. They'll be
Yeah.
That's right. It's fine.
Okay, so Crucible Brewing.
Yes.
And then the next time you hear from me after that, it'll be From the Road, our tour. The tour.
Washington. I was
3-hour tour, Washington. D.C. or the state?
Definitely the state.
You don't have any idea. Okay,
No.
the state.
There's more than one? I get it.
Shut up.
Right.
Homeschooled. I mean, what are you going to do?
Yeah, he was. Are you homeschooling Abigail? I forget.
God, no.
Good idea. Yeah.
Yeah, well.
And I was homeschooled for half of 1 year.
It shows.
That's where she
Well, I
met
used
Sam.
to teach homeschool for 5 years, so it's okay.
To your kids?
No, my kids were too young, but I ran a homeschool program.
How the fuck is it homeschool if it's not your kids? That's somebody else's homeschool.
That's a Montessori
school. Entrepreneurialism
Otherwise
is what
known
it's
as
called.
school. Yeah.
It's called making money.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Got
That's
it.
what I did.
You developed a program for other parents homeschooling their children?
I did. I ran that. That's how we funded the brewery opening.
I see.
Yeah.
You're like, don't want to go to school? Neither do I. I'll come to your house and teach your kids.
Actually, no, send them all to me. I don't want to be in your house. They're
Got
not
it.
my favorite place to be. But send your kids to me. They can come hang out for a few hours. We did a program.
But you don't do that anymore.
I tutor still part-time, but we needed health insurance. And so I
That's
had to
how you
take a
got
real job.
Yeah, gets you every time.
It does. That's what it was.
God, mine keeps going up, too.
I know.
Why?
I don't know. It just does.
Because your age keeps going up.
The premium goes up and the benefits go down every goddamn year.
Yeah.
And then your copay goes up and your deductible.
Yeah,
every year.
And I read that like a few years ago. Remember when I almost died?
Yeah,
or whatever.
Vividly.
I had excellent insurance, and I've never changed my policy. They just keep changing it.
Yeah.
And now I pay almost twice as much for half the shit.
Well, I was in Kaiser the other day, and this guy was trying to get glasses. And he said, well, my doctor wrote me the same prescription, but now it costs me $75 more. And they were like, yeah, well, there's a charge.
Yeah.
He couldn't understand it. It makes all the sense of health insurance in the world.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
It doesn't make sense.
Well, at least on beer, we're transparent on prices.
Yeah.
You want to pay $7 a pint, you get a pint of beer. It's this much. There's your ounces.
Yeah.
Okay?
But you don't just you just change it without telling anybody.
We
you know?
tried that once. People got mad.
People get mad. They don't.
like
Nobody gets mad about health insurance.
They can't do anything about it.
Should.
This is why I'm bored to death. I don't smoke. I don't drink because I can't afford the fucking health insurance anymore.
You're just waiting to live. That's all you're doing. Yeah.
What a fucking waste.
You're probably less healthy now, too.
I probably am, and I'm bored.
Yeah. Boring.
For me-
Stop being so boring.
Give me a beer.
For me, Sam and Abby, I pay $1,200 a month for health insurance.
Wow.
Holy crap.
We might need to
Wow.
reconfigure
It hurts
the
my
show.
heart.
We're gonna figure this out.
I think we pay like $80 because we get it through Taryn's work.
Yeah. See, if somebody in the family has a job that has health, it works. But Bevo
great.
and I don't have jobs.
Yeah, that's not how that works.
So, neither does Sam, for that matter.
Yeah, well, I teach first grade now and work a lot of hours for no money, but we have Cadillac
Healthcare.
health insurance.
Yeah, it's worth
You
it.
guys want to be part of our family? We can be the beer family.
Yeah.
Together.
That's right.
That would be cool.
Well, when President
Right?
Andrew Yang gives us each $1,000 a month, it'll be smooth sailing from here on, boys.
Love it.
Yeah.
All right,
No,
let's
then
get
help
out of
out.
here, shall we?
All right.
Thanks, everybody, for tuning in tonight. We'll see you next time. JP, get us out of here.
Get out of here. Thank you to our show sponsor, More Beer. You can get absolutely everything you need to make great beer at home by going to morebeer.com. Thank you to Ocean View Brew Works from trucking all the way inland from Albany, California. Learn more about their beers and their app over at oceanviewbrews.com. Do you have extra money? If so, head over to patreon.com/earsup and support JP in his quest to become supported monetarily by you. If you love Twitter and homebrew info, follow Nate Smith at Nathan Homebrew, Mike McDowell at Tasty McD, and you can unfollow Warren at Another Beardy. Our newest brewcaster, Teresa, is online at Pasuti Brews and Crooked Lane Brewing. Keep track of JP over on Instagram at Major Jip, and you can find Bevo there as well at Beverly M. Moore. She would love it if you followed her. Be sure to find the Brew Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
JP's an asshole. Justin's in Moscow and when